everybody. We are live on the Greyhawk channel with our very first episode of Saltmarsh Stories. To get us started, I have to thank some of the Greyhawk channel's amazing sponsors. First of all, the Patreon supporters and the Twitch subscribers. You guys are what keep this channel going. Thank you so much. Roll20 is another one of our amazing supporters. We're supported by Roll20. All our games are powered by Roll20, which is the world's leading virtual tabletop. I use it all the time, pretty much every week. And now the Greyhawk channel is officially supported by Roll20, and you can try it out for free at roll20.net. Heroic Maps is our official battle map sponsor. You can check out their library of more than 300 maps on DriveThruRPG. Tabletop Loot is another one. You can go to tabletoploot.com and enter Greyhawk in the coupon code box for a sweet 15% off your dice order. Our Patreon supporters and Twitch subscribers can get coupon codes to ruink.com and Cantrip Candles as well in the private section of our Discord. Even if you're not a supporter or subscriber, you should definitely go and join our Discord. There's public places where you can go and chat about games that you're watching, all of that fun stuff. Okay, I think that is every single one of the sponsors, and I haven't missed any, which is amazing. Today we're going to be playing in Saltmarsh, and it's going to be heaps and heaps of fun. First of all, though, I am your Dungeon Master. I am Alex Catu. You can find me on Twitter at Alex Catu. You can find me on various channels around the internet. And I would like my players to introduce themselves now. Let's go to... Yeah, that would be Liz, because I've just realised it's not the same in Zoom.
Yeah, I was like, who's she pointing to? Hello, my name's Liz Hirsch, also known as Ryu Red Wings all over the internet. You can find me on Twitter at Ryu Red Wings 2. And tonight I'm going to be joining all these wonderful people as Yumi Onyo, the Asimir Barbarian.
Alrighty, let's go to Dan.
Hi, I'm Dan. I'm at Scary Dan on Twitter. I'm very excited. This is my first time joining a live publicly streamed game. It's very exciting. I'll be playing Sam, who is a young elf barbarian.
Outstanding. And let's go to Adam.
That means I'm on the bottom. All right, cool.
Yeah. You guys
I am Adam. Adam Barnello. You can find me on the internet as Adam Barnello. Very original. Today I will be playing Derek Altoran, who is a half-elf druid.
Lovely. Let's go to Amber.
Hello. I'm Amber. I'm going to be playing Vasha Stormsong, a sea elf tempest cleric. And you can find me at Twitter at @4_DND.
Lovely. And last but not least, my good friend, Samuel. Sam.
Hi, I'm Sam, not to be confused with the character Sam, which I'm sure I will be getting confused in my head a lot. I can be found on Twitter as Eldritch Warlock and a couple of other places on the internet like Variant Roles and the RPG Lab. And today I shall be playing Swift of the Tides, who goes by the name Jara. His true name is quite private to him, so he's not yet given it out to the group.
Okay. Yes, your overlay just has Swift, so I will talk to you about that, and we'll make sure that we have Jara's preferred name on the overlay in future, so that I don't call you the incorrect name.
Yep. Before I forget as well, he's at the backseat because I forgot to give that information, which is quite basic and doesn't very well in my mind.
Outstanding. Okay. Well, I think it might be time to play some Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah. Okay. I think we should do that. Now, I've given you guys all a little bit of background on where you are, but I'm not going to share that with the class. That is for yours to decide whether or not you want everybody to know that or not. What we will open with is an endless expanse of ocean of the deepest blue, broken only by small foaming whitecaps as a brisk spring westerly rushes across the surface of the Azure Sea. A small vessel glides effortlessly across the ocean in a tailwind strong enough to sting the face as it hurls glittering salt spray beneath the waxed hoods of the party on board. That is not the occupant's current concern, however, as mere moments ago the wet, clawed hand of a Sahuagin grasped the edge of the boat, its bulbous head appearing over the side as it hauled itself into their midst. Roll initiative.
Yes.
That was fast.
Right into it.
Yeah.
Where'd my notepad go? Okay. Let's start with the sad ones. 0 to 5.
Yep.
1.
Oh no.
I'm sorry, what?
Starting off strong.
I got a 5. So
Okay,
I got a natural
okay,
1 on the
okay,
dice.
Okay.
We're just getting them out of the way early, that's all.
Alright.
Yeah.
Derek 1.
Get that one's out
Don't
early.
worry.
Get rid of.
Jar 5. Love it. Love your work. 5 to 10. No? Good. Okay, 10 to 15.
12 for Sam.
17.
Oh,
Oops.
nice.
Ooh.
14.
This is the highest roll I will get all night.
Have
I
you
can
not
guarantee
got...
it.
Okay, 17. Ooh, okay. And what did you get, Vasha?
14.
14. And Sam,
That's-
Sam, the character.
12.
12. Great. 14, Vasha, 14. And Yumi, right up the top. Yumi. We're kicking it off with you.
Nice.
A Sahuagin, its bulbous head appearing over the side of the keelboat that you're on.
I think I'm gonna make a bold move and hit it.
Make a bold move and hit it. Love it.
Yeah, I'm gonna just stand up from where I am and take up my great axe and go after it because no, thank you. I don't want to be drowned. No drowning for me today, so I'm gonna smack it. Unnatural 20.
Ooh, yeah, that hits. Oh, yeah.
Nice. So that's a D12 I have. Here we go. It's this one. Pretty sure. Yeah, it's this one. It's a total of 10. 10 damage.
Total of 10 damage. Wow.
Nice.
And as Yumi's doing that, do you want to describe to me what she looks like as a character as she makes this move?
Okay, so first of all, I'm a giant woman. Yumi is around 6'7", with very long platinum blonde hair that ends with looks wispy black bits. I have black eyes with red pupils and lots of. At first, it probably looks like makeup, but it's actually like scars or tattoos or something that like streaks of black down my face. And I stand up, silent, walk a few steps, and just swing down. I'm very quiet person, even and usually in battle, especially when suddenly this creatures appear, and I'm just like, no, not today. I'm not dealing with this today. And I just stand up and I bring my axe down. Almost as if I'm dealing more with like insects that just crawled into my house. I just don't care. Get out.
Outstanding. You hit it for a fairly significantly sized hit. It didn't like that much at all. Vasha.
Vasha she's looking across the opposite way at the moment, and she hears the commotion, and she turns and she just kind of makes a face, and you hear this like almost like the salty scent of the ocean kind of drift past you on the wind, and you hear these like faint chimes, and I'm going to need it to roll a wisdom saving throw.
Wisdom save. Oh boy, not great at those. Oh, that's a 15.
Oh, you beat me. So she looks over. She's a little too distracted.
This was not what you were expecting, really.
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. It is the Sahuagin's turn. And like, Yumi, that was a big hit. Didn't like that one bit. So as soon as you cleave into it and it kind of cringes away from Vasha's spell, it's going to take its spear and ram it up towards you. Oh boy, 9.
That does not hit me.
Yeah. No, I didn't think it would. Okay. Let's try. Okay, well, it does get another attack, and it's going to try and bite your hand where you're holding your weapon. Oh, that's better. 16.
Okay, that does hit me.
That's going to do 3 piercing damage as its sharp claws just crunch into the hand holding your weapon.
Ow.
Yeah, I know.
That's all. That's really how she says it too. Like, ow.
Just, ow. Alrighty. Who is next? Sam, the character.
All right. Sam doesn't do anything without at least attempted panache. So what he's going to do is draw both of his hand axes, swish across the deck. He is wearing a skirt. It looks spectacular. And go for a two weapon attack with his axes straight down. That's a 17.
Oh yeah, that definitely hits. Roll me some damage.
All right. The first axe does 5. The second does 3.
8. Lovely. And what does Sam look like when he's making this move?
Sam is, being an elf, very tall, slender, elegant, dark hair. He's wearing mostly black, so he looks kind of like a goth wielding hand axes. Yeah.
Nice. Very dramatic goth wielding hand axes. I appreciate that greatly. Jara.
So I'm just going to drop it as I'm doing and draw the rapier from my hip and just kind of slide between two of my allies already up with the fish monster and try and go for his neck with my rapier.
Lovely.
That is a 17 to hit.
Yeah, that hits.
And I would have sneak attack because an ally was in 5 feet.
Great.
So that'd be 1d8. So that will be 14 points of piercing damage.
Sure. What does it look like what does Jara look like as he slaughters this Sahuagin? First kill of the game.
So, I have noted this. I didn't forget. So Jara is about 5'6" in height. Very dark fur, like brown, going to black in a few places. Apart from a white muzzle or mouth, whatever, and red stripes under his eyes, which are actually dyed. He tends to wear a cloak, through which he has holes that his ears peek through, and golden hoops in each ear. Of note, though, is his left ear is only half an ear, the top bit having been cut off. And the group, having been with him for a little bit, would know that he is missing his left index finger and half of his left middle finger. Oh, and he wears a necklace with those finger bones around his neck.
Very nice.
Why not?
And how does he do away with this interloper on your boat?
So Jara is pretty experienced with sailing, being a bit of a sailor himself and dealing with things like this. So he's very matter of fact about it. Just slips between around Yumi, using her to disguise his approach, and just slides the rapier right through the neck and up into the head.
Lovely, very smooth. And that is the end of the Sahuagin trying to climb onto your borrowed keelboat. Derek, unfortunately, didn't get a go in this combat. So what was he doing that put him in a position where he just didn't act?
Well, being the experienced sailor that he is, he wasn't particularly plussed by this. So with a hand on the tiller, he kind of just watched as a party took care of the problem and continued to puff on his cigar.
Cool. At the helm, just...
You got this.
Y'all can take care of this. And what does Derek look like?
Well, let's see. He's approximately exactly like I look.
Love your work. So having dispatched the Sahuagin threat, which, by the way, was the first. No, sorry, my cat's trying to climb onto my keyboard. Was the first threat that you've encountered on your about maybe 7 hours so far on the water. You've left Saltmarsh at dawn on this special mission that you were given. And this is kind of the first threat that you've encountered. This mission that you're on to try and search for a ship, a lost merchant ship at sea, you've been given some directions, and thus far you think you've been following them pretty well, but the fact that you've just run into a Sahuagin who normally, you wouldn't find this close to Saltmarsh might be a little bit of a concern for some of you. So if we're still looking for this boat, does somebody want to make a survival roll for me to see if you're still on course?
Sure, I'll do that. That is a 19.
19. Yeah, you look up at the sun and kind of the landmarks that you can barely see in the distance, and it looks like you're still pretty well on course, actually. So the appearance of a Sahuagin is maybe not the best thing that's happened all day. You do come across, you can see on the horizon in front of you a jagged outline that's breaking the endless horizon. You're not quite sure what it is at this point.
You see Vasha, who is about 5'10". I realized I didn't describe her. She's about 5'10". She's got kind of like wavy, very full mint-colored hair. She's also a sea elf, so her pointed ears peek out, but they've got the little webbing along the side of them, and she's got kind of a medium to light blue skin, and she's wearing kind of an adornment of some seashells, pearls all along her body. Little bits of seaweed sometimes are caught in her hair, but she looks down at the creature after she surveys the horizon. My, that certainly was a nasty-looking fella. They're not very typical around these parts. Have any of y'all ever seen this before?
If you mean the creature itself, I have a few times, but never this close to Saltmarsh. As you say, and they're not meant to be this around here. Quite unusual.
No, I've lived here almost all my life, and I've never seen one this close.
Truly, you must give me some stories sometime. I have only been here 2 years. Admittedly, I was born here, but it's been a while since I came back. So we must sit down at some point, have a drink, and maybe perhaps you can regale me with some stories.
Well, I'd be happy to, though not much has changed, Saltmarsh.
That is true, but there is always an interesting story to be found somewhere.
Absolutely.
Yumi has meanwhile shoved the creature off the boat.
Just back
Use her
from whence
boat,
you came.
shove back into the ocean. I do not care. And I go back to where I was sitting and like shaking my hand, and I start wrapping it up.
Yes, your bite. Oh.
Yeah, it stings a little bit, but I'm totally... I don't know if anyone has actually even heard Yumi talk beyond yes, thank you, and hello. She doesn't talk, and she's almost poker face all the time. So even while she's wrapping her hand, it's like...
Love it. So as you're continuing your search for this lost merchant ship owned by one of the most popular councillors in Saltmarsh, how are you all keeping an eye out? What are you doing on this keel boat to try and find this missing vessel?
I'm sorry, it cut out for me. So what was your question?
Sorry. Let's have a look. Let's just make sure that my internet is nice and stable. Yep, there we go. As you're all kind of recovering from the shock of the brief attack, searching for this ship, what are we all doing on board the boat to try and maintain course and keep an eye out for your quarry.
Vasha, being a sea elf, she's very connected to the ocean and the creatures within. She has kind of this innate ability to speak with creatures that have a swimming speed. So she's kind of leaning down, looking over the side, and she's making small gestures, soft noises, kind of trying to get a feel if there's other danger nearby.
I did say before the stream that my cat was going to show up and yell at everybody. You can.
I have
Does
a
the
good,
cat have
that's
a
what my yes, that is the creature I am communing with.
Shh.
The catfish.
Yes.
She just needs attention. Oh no, not there. Oh. Okay. I can't put anything down now. My cat's on the. Anyway. So you're kind of keeping an eye out and making sure that there's no other threats in the vicinity. And Vasha, the jagged shape that you saw on the horizon just previously starts to come into view a little bit more. You spy a mound of jagged rocks breaking the surface of the water, holding within their grasp the ruins of a once handsome merchant ship. Along the side, gilded in gold and glittering sunlight, are the words, "The Lady of the..." The last couple of letters are missing, as is the final third of the vessel itself. Broken, jagged beams reach towards the ocean, the ship listing backward into the water towards its own shattered end. It's probably about 200 feet off.
She lifts a hand and gestures forward. I think that might be the one that he told us to look for, right?
It might be. I'd like to stand up and scan in the water, if possible, to see if there's any shallow spots, any reef that we'd be needing to avoid as we approach the vessel.
Yeah, absolutely. Make me a survival check.
Can I
Alright.
be doing the same?
Sure.
Okay. What does that mean? Do we both make the roll, or
Yeah, both make the roll if you're looking kind of
I rolled a 20.
Yeah. Okay.
Never mind.
Yumi starts to kind of look into the water just as Derek immediately notices these rocks that have kind of burst forth from the water and that the ship has run aground on are not a random solo formation. There are jagged rocks very, very close to the surface all around here, going out from that main group about maybe almost 100 feet. So you don't know how close you'd actually be able to get to this boat, and from which angle. There's rocks that are very nearly breaking the surface all the way around it.
Well, in that case, I will recommend to the group, at this point, I say we run the ship to shore here and head out on foot.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think that is probably wise. No point trying to risk any damage.
Yumi's going.
Yeah, you guys are actually in the open ocean at this point. This isn't like rocks on an island. This is like a formation of not quite a reef, but just a group of rocks that have pushed themselves up from the ocean. Over
Okay, but not
millennia.
enough of them for us to make our way across those rocks.
There might be. At this distance, you can't really tell what happens close up, but with the 20, you can see that there are little bits of rocks. They kind of fade out from the center towards you,
Okay.
and they peter out at about 100 feet away, but there are rocks closer than that. So you're not too sure whether you'd be able to walk across them, but you know that within about 100 feet of the ship, it would be very dicey sailing.
Despite all of our experience, I don't think that it would be wise to proceed with the boat further. Are
Yumi's
y'all
just
afraid
gonna-
of getting your feet wet?
Yumi gestures to her half-plate armor.
Yes, that might present a problem.
Yes.
By Lodge, I have no problem going for a little swim. But as Yumi has said, gestured, whatever is most applicable. I don't think half plate really lends itself to such activities.
Sam just changes his shoes from his good shoes to something that can get wet.
Of course, Sam brought extra shoes.
Of course, Sam brought extra shoes.
So you're about
see-
200 feet out at the moment.
Okay.
Well, in that case, I suggest we proceed carefully.
Well, Derek, you're the one driving the ship at this point. With your nautical skills, I'm going to say that you can determine how best you think to crew the ship closer to crew your vessel closer to the ship. Whether you want to do a survival roll, a dexterity roll for the finesse on the wheel, whichever of your experienced sailor skills you think.
All right, we'll use survival again. See how that goes.
Can I touch him and she is it, let's see. Just she like sets her hand on your shoulder and you just get guidance. So you can roll a d4 and add it.
Mm-hmm.
Adding the d4.
Add that d4.
So it's a total of 16.
Okay. It's a good thing you had that d4 because as you get closer, you start to see that it's still very deep water. You're still in extremely deep water. It's almost like there's a bit of a trench here, but there are these mammoth rocks reaching up from the deep and kind of piercing the surface of the water, or almost piercing the surface of the water. And it does take quite a bit of your seafaring knowledge to navigate around them and get within, I'd say, about 60, let's say 60 feet of the ship itself. And which direction are you coming at it from? Because you are in the open ocean, you get the option to kind of come at it right from the side up towards the front, which is kind of sticking in the air a bit, or towards the back, which has been sheared off and is mostly underwater. So it's the ship is mostly underwater. It's just kind of the forecastle and main deck that are above the water.
Any strong feelings one way or the other, crew?
Perhaps it might be best to go towards the part that's closest to the water. I don't think we can really climb up that.
I mean, I could climb, but I don't think the rest of you have my particular adaptability. And Jada flashes his claws out for a moment. So probably best.
The formidable weapon you got there, Far.
My abilities are in
so
the
much.
sea, not climbing.
All right.
Yeah.
As much as I don't want to drown, I think the that broken part, let's go there.
All right, so I steer over to the section of the ship that is closest to the surface of the water.
Okay. I'm gonna get everybody to make me a perception check, please.
There we go. That's better. That's more like it. I got a
15.
6. 6 total.
Okay. Yumi, you don't notice anything. Sam, what did you get? He was like, oh,
Sam rolled a natural 1.
okay.
Oh no.
Oh, honey. You two are kind of just, yeah, it's a boat. 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 Jara.
Jada got a 19.
Right. Good. Derek.
8.
Great. You are really concentrating on not running this little boat aground because you guys are in basically a keel boat, so little ship with one sail, and you're just like real delicate on the wheel here. And Vasha.
15.
15. Okay. Jara and Vasha, you notice a couple of things. As you're kind of curving around towards the back of the ship, the first thing that is immediately apparent to you is that the back of the ship is sheared off. There are broken planks in it. Cat. There are broken planks and everything, but this isn't the kind of injury a ship would take if it ran aground on some rocks. Like, the back third is gone. The second thing you notice, well, I think Jar is the only one who notices this, but there are shapes moving in that back end of the ship. And the water, where the ship joins the ocean, where it kind of starts to sink under, is rolling and foaming almost.
I think that we all might want to be a bit careful. It seems we have some company awaiting us, waiting a little while. Yeah,
Oh, I see. Oh, right there.
Figures that you see.
You know, it's the most unnatural kind
I
of
need to hit more
slicing.
things.
What's that?
You may just pipes up. Do I need to hit more things?
Oh, you might very soon.
Alright.
But you see the way that it's so sudden. It's just so unnatural. The cut. This isn't a typical crash.
It do not dash itself across the rocks. It seems more, as you say, less natural, I guess.
Yeah.
But
What do
I
y'all
we should-
think?
right.
She looks at the rest of the crew.
I feel like, if Sam says, I feel like this is more than we signed up for, but he brandishes a hand axe, twirling on his finger, and says, I'm good to go wherever.
What was the ship doing here in the first place?
You were aware, and you were told this by the councillor when he hired you, that this was his mother's prized merchant ship, so it was just ferrying goods to... Cinnamon! It was just ferrying goods to and from the various countries within Greyhawk, the various kingdoms. And it was his mother's prized merchant ship, so it may have had some very nice cargo on it. But it was just a merchant ship, really.
Is this is actually a question that Yumi is going to say out loud, and that is this a normal trading route?
This area, would Vasha think that this is normal?
Yeah, it's a bit out of the way. It's probably maybe 30 k's away from the main channel, because obviously nobody's going to deliberately sail the ships through these rocks. But it's close enough that, based on growing up in Saltmarsh and being around here all the time, it's close enough that while not a deliberate place that a merchant ship would go, it's not unreasonable that it could be blown off course here or accidentally end up here.
I mean, it's a little off track. This isn't the main course, but I mean, storms pass by all the time. It's very possible that it just got blown adrift, but yeah.
Derek, you're the one currently helming the ship, so I should bring this to you. The waters at the back, they seem to be a bit agitated, I suppose you could say. Perhaps not something for clean sailing. You're at the helm though, so I will leave the decision in your hands.
Well, I could calm the waters a bit if I needed to. But there's plenty of other ship that we could dock with, so perhaps we should just go a little bit further up the ship.
Derek, as you're being asked to look at this, I'm going to get you to make me a history check.
History.
Yeah.
Big +0 in that boy.
10?
10.
Okay. Just enough. It stirs something in your memory. The sight of this ship with the rear end completely sheared away stirs something in your memory that you would rather
Not
forget.
Good. Not good.
It's just a flash, and it's a flash of something that for a long time you've been convincing yourself was just a storm. It was just a storm. There was nothing else. It was just a storm. It's something that you
We're gonna go
don't wanna
over there.
remember.
What's wrong? You look a
This-
little pale. Are you okay?
This is not the kind of sea that we want to be sailing.
Why do you say that?
It's a bit of a long story, but suffice it to say for the moment that I've seen waters like these before. Nothing good comes up out of these waters. I suggest we tread carefully and head towards the other end of the ship.
The
All
sea
right.
holds many mysteries, so I will take your word on this. You do look a bit pale, though, as Vasha said. I do have something on me to fix.
Is there
It's a very
something-
He adjusts the lighting in his room.
I swear, you just look like you've seen a ghoul. Like, are you sure you're fine?
I wouldn't
Is there
call it a
something-
ghoul.
Do you
There's
want
something
some,
you're not telling us.
There's a lot of large and dangerous things that live in the deep. I've seen
Right.
some of them. I was
Is
lucky
there-
to survive once. I can't guarantee it'll happen again.
Is there anything out here that we should be worried in particular?
Well, I imagine there's a lot out here we should be worried about.
In
particular? I've seen a kraken or two. I had a ship go down. I was lucky to get out alive, but I was one of the few that did.
Well, I have no intention on being eaten. So, are we still going?
Basha has a very concerned look on her face. Being of sea folk, she would know how serious a kraken threat is.
It absolutely strikes fear into your heart.
Yeah, she. No. This is bad. You've seen water like this preceding something with a kraken?
The water itself, the churning water, is you haven't really that's
Or is it
kind of
the
new
cut
to
of
you.
the ship?
Yeah, it's the fact that the entire end of the ship has just been ripped off. There's only one thing you've seen do that.
Are you telling me that a kraken has just annihilated this ship?
No. I've been on the sea my whole life. I've been on most of the seas in the world at this point. I've seen a lot of ships go down. I've been on a few myself. Only once have I seen something that looks similar to this.
Right.
In that time, it was because some monstrous beast came up from the deep and tore our ship asunder.
There's never been
Maybe
anything
this is
like
what
this.
happened here. Maybe it's not. I can't say, but it looks familiar is all I'm telling you.
Vasha immediately crouches down and she starts whispering something softly to the sea. She's warning her brethren and creatures to keep an eye out and know that there could be very serious danger about.
So, you're saying a monster ripped this boat in half.
Again, no. I'm saying maybe that's what happened.
Not
Would you
just
find-
a monster, the monster.
Yumi just looks to the ship and then looks back to Derek. Looks back to the ship. Looks back to Derek again, and she says, "I'm pretty sure it was a monster." Just saying.
So Sam, at this point, finishing tying his shoes, listening to all this, says, "So we
What
can."
do these shoes look like? I'm sorry, Dan, but these shoes, what do they look like?
These shoes are the most refined leather you've ever seen. They are waterproof.
These are my
And-
kraken shoes.
They are they're laced from the toes up to the knee, which is why they take such a long time to get off. They look like, oh my god. So listening to all this, Sam just says, so we can either climb up, dive in, take whichever we like, or we can turn around and say we just found some driftwood and carry on with our lives. I'm fine either way, but I've just put these shoes on.
Jara is going to walk up to Sam, clasp him on the shoulder, and just say, my friend, you do not live if you do not take some risk. This is most interesting. I'm definitely going to see this through, if by myself, if anything else. So, are we sitting around to the front rather than where the waters are? I'm just wary. We do have the sails down, we have the wind, and we are moving while we are talking, getting closer.
Yes, I'm headed up to the front.
Those are really nice shoes, though.
Thank you.
You had to set a timer to get them? Because they're Kraken shoes?
Now, as we make our way, you're going to try to, and then she looks, Jara, you're going to try to climb up the front of the boat. Now, you saw those creatures, was it?
Yeah, I did not get a good look at them, or I can describe them as is creatures of some sort. So,
Several of them?
a good number, yes.
Okay. Well, it'd probably be unwise for us to have just one or two of us pop in, unless you can be real stealth-like. I know I can't.
Oh, my friend, I can be very, very quiet when I want to be. I can definitely pass beneath notice of such simple creatures. Easily.
Yeah. I'm about as subtle as a thunder wave, so by all means.
Does anyone have any
Yeah,
pittons, by the way?
They have what?
Pittons. If I'm climbing, I need to find a way for you all to climb if we're not going around the back.
Y'all got rope.
I've got some rope. I can join you climbing if we need. I think I'm pretty good at that stuff. I've not climbed a boat before.
I am.
Well, this is the perfect time to find out.
I am not fast and heavy. Just putting that out there now. But if someone can get me to the top, I can definitely lift someone.
Should we be concerned about the ship? Not, I apologize. That's the ship. This is the boat. Should we be concerned about the boat?
I think we could just
Yeah.
tie it off to another reef.
Well, you said there's some creatures in the water there. Should we be concerned that they're going to do some damage to the boat? This is really the only way we can get out of here.
I believe I saw them on the ship only. I did not see them in
Okay.
the water.
Oh, okay, okay.
Should we pull the boat up to the ship? That's what you can do with boats, right?
Well, there's an awful lot of rocks. We don't want to wreck this boat. And then she's like looking at the ship and the boat, this one that we're on.
I assume that I could pull it up to the side and we could go abreast
Or
of...
are the rocks just kind of like by the back end? Is the front open?
The back is kind of the rocks are kind of all around it. It's like it was sinking and it's been kind of hauled up on these rocks that are keeping the front half of it out of the water. But it's like the prow of it is on the rocks and the rest is underwater. Looking at it, you reckon the forecastle and quarterdeck are above water. The main deck is probably half above water, and the rest of it, the lower deck and the hold, are completely submerged.
So I think we could get close. Maybe not right up alongside, but we could get close.
Are we climbing to the prow? Or are we going more for the kind of...
I think climbing the prow would be safer, surely. We'll have higher ground then.
I'm happy to do whatever the group is happy with. And everyone watches Jada for the first time since you've seen him starts to take off the gloves he wears. And you can see on his left hand, as mentioned before, his right index finger is completely gone. There's no fur, it's just cauterized flesh. And the same is for halfway down his middle finger as well. Again, cauterized flesh, like it's cut off with a hot knife.
Are you all right there, Jara?
Yes, let's just say
8.5 out of 10.
8.5 out of 10, yes.
Looks
I think
fairly.
what I shouldn't have. And well, it's actually a fascinating story, really. Quite a story of intrigue and adventure, damsels and fair maidens in distress who then happen
And
to stab
you
me in the
can
back, etc.
you can tell to us all when we all live and don't drown. No offense. Uh,
By all means. And Jard will then start gathering some rope. So you tie it off at the top and
Yeah.
do it down. Climb it.
I'm gonna get everybody as Derek, who has multiple times proved his ability to steer this boat. I'm not gonna make you do another roll for that. You've kind of got the hang of getting in and out of these rocks by now. But I do need everybody to make me a stealth check as you come up on this boat. You can make it with advantage because you are kind of just hunkering down inside the keel boat. But
So then it'll just be normal for us.
yeah, like with that
But with advantage, it just cancels to a straight.
oh yeah, no, it's advantage. So roll twice, take the higher one. There's no
Okay, even
disadvantage. If you've got plate armor, yeah, it's straight roll.
okay.
Heavy armor, straight roll.
Yay! 18!
22.
Cool.
12.
Cool.
I have
8.
26.
26 and 8. Okay, well, luckily, Vashi, you kind of start shifting around trying to get a good look and making a bit of a clank, and the others kind of just like, no sit.
I told you, Thunderwave.
And managed to pull you back down, and you do... Well, I should probably check that, actually. Yeah, you think you were pretty quiet getting up to the front of the ship, so you managed to maneuver the keel boat in front of the prow, which if the ship was fully out of the water, this would be a daunting height up. But because really only the forecastle where you are, the forecastle and the front of the main deck are above water, it's probably only 20 feet from the surface of the water to the top of the prow.
Have we pulled up alongside at this point?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've tied us off.
Yeah, you very easily, this close, there's rocks everywhere, so you can very easily find somewhere to tie off your boat.
So Jada is throwing a spool of rope over his shoulder, and he said it was 20 feet.
About 20 feet, yeah.
In that case, you all watch him run, jump, and in 6 seconds he's at the top.
That's your jumping speed, isn't it? Because you're a tabaxi.
I have a climbing of 20 feet.
There you go! You don't even have to roll for that, you can just go.
Well, hell, you made that look pretty easy.
If you're tying off the rope at the top with the idea of other people kind of winching themselves up or reverse abseiling themselves up, I will get you to make either an athletics or a sleight of hand check to see how well or how tightly you tie it. It's up to you which one you want to use.
Definitely sleight of hand. He's missing fingers means he's not exactly strong. So.
But he is sleight of hand.
He is sleight of hand. That is a 17.
Great. You deftly tie it off with a very strong sailor's knot, one you can easily undo later. Okay. So, Jara's at the top, and Jara, I will get you to make me a stealth check while you're up there.
No problem. So that is 24.
Good to know.
Oh, wait.
Sam immediately just goes straight up the rope once it's tied off.
Okay. You're going to have to make me an acrobatics or athletics check.
Let's go acrobatics. That is 14.
Okay. It takes you a little bit, but you're kind of agile enough that you don't really have to haul yourself up. You can almost run up it and get yourself over the top pretty easily.
Nice.
Anyone else?
Sorry, just as a quick point of note, Jara is he has his bow slung over his shoulder. He's drawing that and knocking an arrow.
Okay.
Preparation.
So you're gonna ready a shot.
Yes.
What is gonna be the trigger for that shot?
As soon as he will have an idea that any hostile creature has noticed us.
Righto. So you're just scanning around. Make me a perception check.
And should Sam make a stealth roll as well since he's up there?
Once he gets up there, yeah.
Cool.
So that is a non-natural 20.
Okay.
16.
As you're kind of peering into the darkness, you guys, you're up on the forecastle, so you're a fair bit above the main deck. But as you squint down into the darkness of the main deck, where it kind of disappears into the water, you do see some shapes moving in there. They don't seem to be coming towards you at this point, but you do see some shapes moving there. And then just as you notice those, something on the quarterdeck, so you have forecastle, main deck, quarterdeck, and so the quarterdeck's, because the ship's tilted, it's a little bit lower than where you are. Coming out from behind the helm, behind the wheel, you see a Sahuagin kind of circle around the quarterdeck, doesn't notice you, and heads down the stairs to the main deck.
Okay.
And Sam, what was your stealth roll?
22.
Yeah, you're good. You're fine. So we have 2 up on deck.
Can Sam? Sam saw the looking around as well. Yes. No.
Probably not, because
Okay.
Jara was specifically looking for something just in case. Like he had an arrow knocked and.
Yep. Gotcha.
Yes, he would, as soon as Sam got up, just tap him slightly in the arm, finger to his lip, and point where he did see this Sahuagin. Just to give warning there is something moving around.
Okay.
So, does anybody want to do any clips of insanity with Yumi? She can kiss herself up there.
You see Vasha just like set her hand on your shoulder. Well, it's for good luck, and you can have guidance.
Oh, well. Thank you. What does that do?
1.
You get 1d4.
Oh,
added
okay.
to-
All right. So yeah, I'm gonna go up and basically help lift if needed because I think Vasha's also wearing plate armor.
What am I wearing? I think so.
Yeah, it's
Something
something you
heavy.
can-
Something heavy.
Yeah. I think I can just boop myself.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna go up the rope. What am I rolling?
You're gonna roll me an acrobatics or an athletics check.
I'm gonna go for athletics because, like I said, Yumi's not fast. Not fast. Oh, it's a 22.
Yeah, you very, very easily, you just look at the rope, homp, straight up. It's almost like one tug and you've managed to vault yourself over the edge of the ship. You are going to have to make me a stealth check, though, as you get yourself onto the forecastle.
Okay, with disadvantage because of the stuff.
Yep.
Oh boy, here we go.
We're not
Okay.
still.
But you've still got your guidance. You didn't use your
Yeah,
guidance.
I'm keeping that in mind. So 10. Oh, natural 1.
I'm up here.
That D4 is not going to do nothing for that.
Not really. You hit the deck and just clang, 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 clang as your feet hit the deck. Nothing happens just yet, but that was pretty loud.
What?
There
What?
are
What's
2
the matter? What
still
are you
in our
looking like
keelboat.
Vasha's got her hand like in her hair, and she's like, "Did they hear us?"
Yumi has, by the way, like gone stock still on the boat, realizing how much of a clamor she's just made. Like, oh.
Just a quiet groan.
Yeah, just like, all right. To make room.
Fasha, I think you're next.
All right. I'm gonna. Do you want athletics?
Athletics or acrobatics?
All right. Let's see. That is gonna be a 13. Athletics.
A 13. You're shaking a little bit after hearing how loud Yumi was, and you get the 10 feet. You get halfway up and feel your hand slip slightly. You're going to need to make me another roll, and the DC is going to be a little higher.
Can we give an assist from the top if Sam's watching? Give an assist from the top to steady the rope.
Yeah, can we reach and like yank?
Yes, you can definitely kind of reach and try and pull her up. I was gonna say if Sam did it, he'd have to make another stealth roll. Yumi,
I'm gonna need it because I have an
okay.
8.
Yeah, no, Yumi's gonna run over and yank.
Okay.
Cool.
Make an athletics check for me. Roll it with advantage because Varsha's trying to get up.
Okay. Alright, so.
Uh,
Okay, even with advantage, it's a 5. So it's a lesson. That 17 is gonna be the highest one.
Okay, so that's so what was the highest one?
11.
Okay. Well, because it was the first time you doing it, the DC wasn't that much higher, so you're okay. You do manage to kind of pull her up, but I'm gonna say that was real loud. That whole exercise was just a bunch of heavy armor clanking against wood.
and Basha like pulls herself up, and she's like the metal is just like scraping along the edge of the wood, and she's like,
Yumi just like grabs her arms and like just stop her from moving. Like, we need to both stop.
Having seen all this from the ground, Derek rolls his eyes about as hard as he possibly can, flicks his cigar into the water, and just starts pulling himself up the rope.
Athletics or acrobatics, please.
20, not natural.
Yeah, but plenty, and you just kind of effortlessly haul yourself up and over the side. Stealth check for me. Might be redundant at this point, but
No, it's not. I rolled a 2.
okay, cool. So, in your frustration, hauling yourself over the side, just 2 boots on the deck, straight down. You don't see anything yet, but that was loud.
Is there any cover where we are, or is it just completely open?
There is the remains of a kind of rusted, wind-beaten ballista at the forecastle. So there's a non-operational, non-functional, rusted-out ballista sitting in front of you, which is probably about 5 feet in width and would probably be cover for one person.
Yara, as soon as Yumi got up and made was that noise, it was just sat behind there, just no,
With your bow.
no. Just
Fair enough.
head in hands, and every time every noise after, just a slight twitch of his eye.
An attempt was made, but you are all now on the ship.
Well, now that everything within a mile radius of us knows that we're here, now what?
I would imagine that they are probably planning how to best encounter us. So we should proceed very carefully.
Sam relays what Jara indicated before about seeing I forget the parts of the boat, sorry.
The quarterdeck.
The quarterdeck, thank you. Seeing them move about the quarterdeck to the 3 who just arrived.
Wonderful.
Given that the stealth is no longer a factor, I will reach into my pocket and pull out a pouch where I have a bunch of tobacco leaves and start to roll myself a new cigar as I very obviously walk over to the edge of the top deck that we're on and get a better look.
Okay, sure. Let me just have a quick look here. Okay, sure. So as you walk over to the railing of the forecastle that looks down onto the main deck and, well, down onto the quarterdeck first, which would normally be at the same level as you, but because of the tilt of the ship is not. The quarterdeck is now empty. It just has the helm on it. And there are 2 narrow staircases going down from the forecastle to the main deck, from both the forecastle and the quarterdeck. The main deck, looking down on it, you don't see anything. What you do see is that it kind of disappears into darkness towards the back of the ship as it starts to head underwater as well. You can see a little bit of light coming through where the back of the ship is sheared off, but then everything starts to go underwater. On the main deck, there's another staircase heading down to what would be the lower deck, and you can see water lapping up from that. So the lower 2 decks of the ship are completely submerged.
I turn to the rest of the crew and snap my fingers to light the cigar and say, "It looks clear to me."
Cool.
Well, do we want to go down the stairs, or where would y'all like to go?
Down the stairs makes sense to me. Is my stealth roll still valid despite everyone else's arrival?
You don't know. You think you were pretty quiet.
Okay, cool. Sam offers to take the lead down there sneakily, theoretically.
After you, fancy pants.
Yumi's gonna be the caboose.
Fair.
Might as well.
All
Jada
aboard
is
the
great.
noise train.
All
Jada
right.
is going to go second just behind Sam, hoping that his own stealth as well is still
Okay.
All right. Let's sneakily move down these stairs.
Okay. There are two sets of stairs. There's one to the left, one to the right of you. Are you all going down the same one?
Sam's going for the left.
Okay.
Jada will go for the right.
Okay, so you're going to split down the sides. Cool. Are you two going ahead of everybody else, or is it kind of like, are you kind of grouped together?
That's up to everyone else as far as Sam's concerned.
Yeah, I'll go behind Sam.
Cool.
And then,
Jada's- if anyone's with him, he's not really looking to go ahead. He's just moving in his direction. So if anyone's with him, they are with him.
Okay.
Vasha just looks and she watches like them both just kind of split, and she's like, oh. And then she watches like Derek proceed, and so she just grabs Yumi and she's like, come on, let's go this way, and she pulls her towards Jara.
Okay, yeah, Yumi's fine with that. She's like, yeah, I would assume that they know that you and I are here. Maybe not the people that actually know what they're doing and can be not giant and loud. Let's go. Yumi starts guiding Vasha down the stairs.
Just like trying to be quiet.
Clunk, clunk.
She's a great shield.
Pros and cons. Pros and cons.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pros, I can reach any high shelf ever. Con, I cannot run.
Okay, so you guys do head down into the main deck. Oh, let me get my map out. You head down to the main deck. The stairway down to the lower decks are right in front of you. There's a grate off to the side that also leads down to the lower deck. It's for getting cargo in and out. There is another ballista in front of you. This one's much bigger. It's probably about 10 feet wide, so maybe two people could get cover behind it. And then past that, the ship kind of disappears into darkness and starts to kind of look like it might be going underwater. There are two doors in front of you, so you can't actually see. This is why you couldn't see into the back of the ship, because there looks like there are two cabins here. So there are two closed doors behind the ballista. And everything seems quiet.
Sam's gonna go and listen to the nearest door.
Okay, so that'll be the one on the left.
So Alex,
Yeah.
I'm trying to map this out in my brain. So we came down the stairs and straight ahead in the beneath the level of the quarterdeck are where the two doors are.
Beneath the level of the quarterdeck, yeah. So kind
Okay.
of exactly where the quarterdeck is. Beneath
Yep.
that, there's a door on each side, and it looks like
And
there's
then
two
the-
cabins.
Is there a stairs that go up to the quarterdeck in the middle of them?
One on either side, complete mirror
One on
of the
either
stairs
side.
you just came down, yeah.
Okay, and then the ballista is to our left.
It's pretty much straight in the middle.
Okay, in the
Kind of like
middle of that.
smack bang in the middle, yeah.
Yep.
So we're all there, I'm assuming.
Yes, you've
Even
all
though the
just
sta-
come
okay.
down the stairs to the main deck.
Just checking because there's two sets of stairs and somehow I couldn't make it clear in my head. Like, we're all the same place? I don't know.
You're
you
kind
need-
of on opposite sides of the ship.
Okay.
Like, It just,
Yumi. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yumi's gonna poke around and see if she can find any signs of these creatures that are supposedly here.
okay. Make me
Could
a
Sam
perce-
hear anything at the door? So, sorry,
yes.
go for me
Yes.
first.
What was your perception check?
Oh, perception.
Yeah.
18.
18. On the left door. You know what? You can hear something, but honestly, it's the strangest sound. It's one of the weirdest sounds you've ever heard. It's like if you were feeding fish in a pond, a lot of fish, feeding them all at once, and you can hear them kind of going across the top of the water. So it's kind of a watery, wet sound, but it's also an agitated sound. And that's what you can hear behind the door.
Door number 1.
Ah, boy.
I have no idea how to relay this to everyone. Am I able to? Will my prestidigitation cantrip allow me to mimic this as an illusory effect? Mimic this effect to everyone?
I'm gonna say yes. Because that's funny. You're like.
Yeah, basically.
So
And
yeah.
then we hear the sound, and I'm just like, what the fuck?
You get the sternest look from Yumi you probably have seen since you've met her. Just like, what? What just came out of your mouth?
As a sea elf, like Vasha, like her ear kind of like perks. Does she recognize that at all?
Roll me a nature check.
16.
Okay. Given that you saw a Sahuagin before, and they're not super native to this particular patch of water, you reckon that they might have taken over this ship as a Sahuagin hatchling ground. So you reckon behind door number 1 might be a Sahuagin hatchling swarm.
So everybody else is like, what is that? And then you just hear like from the back, like a very soft, like, oh, that's the Sahuagin hatchling swarm. You haven't heard that before?
Yumi just looks at Avasha, just like, what is that?
And then she points at her webbing. She's like, sea elf.
Well, no, I mean, will
What
it
is-
eat us?
There will be things that will eat us on that side, yes.
Okay.
Sam's
I would
looking at the
imagine-
door.
The parents are probably there,
Oh,
I would guess.
Sam, what
Alex,
did you say? I missed it.
Sam just steps away from the door on hearing Vasha relay what's in there. Just steps away from the door.
Yeah, I'd like to hide behind the ballista.
Okay. Make me a stealth check.
oh, what? Did I find anything from my poking around?
Roll me an investigation check.
Okay. I know. I feel as if we got everything we could out of what Sam found, but still, I'm curious. I don't know if that curiosity is gonna do anything. Maybe 13.
13. Mostly you're just finding the detritus of a ship underfoot, so broken cups, a quill. It's, yeah. Whatever happened to this ship definitely knocked everything around, and you're mostly just finding the detritus of human lives.
Okay. All right.
18 stealth, Alex.
Love it.
So
Is-
Jara is going to go to the other door, the right,
Mhm.
one on the right, and take a listen there. Just to see.
Okay, roll me a perception check.
That is a 16.
16, and roll me a stealth check as well.
That is a 25.
Okay, you do hear behind the door, you hear a slight, very, very slight shuffle. Just a shuffle, just like the movement of feet.
Okay.
And you manage to do this without a sound.
So
Just out of
Shadows-
curiosity, what is everybody else's positions?
I'm gonna assume that Yumi's still in the back,
Mm-hmm.
because Vasha did not say that she let go of Yumi at all, so I'm assuming it's still there, and that Vasha is still clinging.
Yeah, she's like clinging to you, but she's got her shield like up, and she like you can just see like webbed ears poking out on either side.
I would assume we are the caboose now, both of us, in the back.
Mm-hmm. And Sam and Jara are up against a door, and
Sam stepped back, so he's probably
Okay.
halfway between the door and the ballista.
all right, and Derek is behind the ballista, away from the two doors. Okay. As you're listening at the door, Jara, and you hear the shuffle of a step, you're not quite sure the direction of it, but you feel the door begin to move, and at the same time, out from the stairway leading down to the lower deck, where the water is lapping up against it, a huge hulking figure emerges. It looks a little bit like the Sahuagin that was climbing over your ship before, only it's bigger. And instead of a spear in its webbed hand, it's holding a length of some kind of carved coral with a big rock on the end. And I need everyone to roll initiative.
Yeah.
Can I have my book back? Thank you.
Rolling for initiative is easy when you have a 0 modifier.
Oh.
Amen.
Let's do it the other way this time. 25 to 20. Oh boy. Oh boy. 15 to 20.
18.
Okay.
I got 17.
19.
Yay. So is that Vasha with the 19?
Yes.
Great. I was looking down. Okay. 10 to 15.
Oh, 11.
11. And 5 to 10. And 0 to 5.
4.
Okay. Derek is just so chill. It's not about being slow, it's just the degree of chill he's got. Like,
That's right.
Are you sure those are cigars?
He keeps it.
There's tobacco in those.
this is just another day for Derek.
Just another.
Okay, Vasha, because you're standing there, like kind of closest to where this creature has burst forth from, you see it as soon as its head begins to break free of the water, so you get to attack first.
So about how many feet would you say I am?
I'd say you're about 10 feet away from it.
Okay. Not being immediately within its vicinity, she immediately pulls back towards the back of the space.
Yep.
And she looks at her companions, and she's going to actually hold her turn until, or ready in action until it attacks a party member.
Right. Cool. So you're ready an attack till it attacks somebody else. Sam, as you step away from the door and kind of look around like, what the hell was that? You see the same thing. So you're kind of primed and ready after hearing that weird sound.
How far away? I'm on the other side of the deck. About how far away am I?
20 feet?
20 feet.
Yeah, 20 feet.
You know what? Sam is just going to grab his Morning Star, run over, and beat the crap out of it.
Okay. An unexpected display of courage from Sam.
No, he's into this. It's like
Okay.
angry teen goth. Come on.
Fair.
It's
What else
playtime.
That's a 16.
Let's have a look. Yeah, yep. Hits, roll me some damage.
9.
Okay. Ooh, you guys are doing big hits for level 1, I'm just saying. Jara, your roguish instincts come in, and as you hear this sound, this scrape towards the door, you think, oh shit, and immediately turn around to see this creature emerge. It is 20 feet away from you.
But I have the door behind me opening. If I don't know if this will be slightly meta, so I'll ask it and you can tell me to bubble off if so. But if I held my action until the door opened, because of my awful, would I still get sneak attack?
I'm going to say based on your really high stealth check from before, yes, because you were specifically right up against the door and anything coming through it is not going to expect you to be right there. They know there's things out here, but the fact that you're like face up against the door like hello, they're not going to expect that. So yes, I would say if you held your attack till the door opened, they would not be expecting you to be right there.
So Jada's going to crouch down, have his rapier readied, and as soon as the door opens, and he's going for an attack if it's a hostile.
Good to know. Yumi, you're basically reacting to Varsha pulling back, and you see this thing emerging. What do you do?
Well, I'm assuming that Vasha's a big girl and she can handle herself because she's a cleric. And Yumi's gonna run forward and join Sam in beating the crap out of this thing.
Love your work.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna try to hit it. I think that's a 19, but let me check.
What did you roll on the dice?
I rolled a 13.
Okay. And you've got a plus to hit, so yes.
Yeah,
You're
so
gonna
6,
hit it.
6, 19 total.
19 total? Yes, you're gonna hit. Roll me some damage.
Okay, and I'm hitting it with my great axe.
Hit it with your
Just keep
axe.
whacking with that axe. Oh, that's, okay. That's 13.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then I'm gonna use my bonus action to rage.
Smart. Very smart, in fact, because it is going to react to that fairly violently, getting hit twice for quite large hits immediately. Okay, and you did get injured before, and it looks towards you, and you can see its kind of amphibious face. It's got these kind of large nostrils in front, and you can see them flare as it and leans in towards you. There's something about you that it's honing in on, and it is going to make it's going to make 2 attacks against you with the big rock on a stick that it's got.
Oh, fun.
Okay, that's 21 for the first hit.
I think it hits.
And it's going to swing back again and try and do it again, and that is 20.
Yeah.
Okay, you're gonna take 14 points of damage.
Okay.
As
is
whack, and it is
that
bludgeoning. It's bludgeoning damage. So
Okay,
you're going to take 7 points of damage.
Yay! I'm still alive.
Because of rage.
Don't look at though.
Just see Vasha going like.
But it didn't even look over at Sam. As soon as you came up, it kind of leaned towards you and took a, like it was almost sniffing at you, and then attacked you and seemed very, very focused on you.
Yumi's just gonna roar back at it.
And then at the exact same moment, the 2 doors slam open, and 2 much smaller, slightly less horrifying looking Sahu again burst out, but it is their attack to open the door and get there. But I believe both of you had attacks held. So Varsha.
Yeah. She looks at her, she looks at Yumi, seeing that she looks really beaten up. And you just see like this kind of like shimmer of like, kind of like this metallic blue and teal light just kind of strike your back, Yumi, and she gives you hang on. Ooh, nice. She gives you 6 points of healing back, and then that's my bonus action. So then you hear those soft chimes again, and she needs the big guy to make a wisdom save.
I am not wise. That's a 7.
Yes. Okay. Then is the right die? Okay. That is going to be 11 points of necrotic damage. Like
Holy shit.
these bells just kind of like ring, and you almost see like that like heat wave you see on pavement. You kind of see that like around the head of the enemy, and you see like maybe a little trickle of blood, I don't know, or something like that. But
Okay. What does it look like when this thing is taken out by your spell? Because that's what happens.
Then in that case, yeah. So you see like this soft shimmer start, and I would imagine like it starts with like a little drip of blood, but then like you start to see it kind of like out the eyes and ears, and it just kind of collapses.
I'm just gonna cross that guy out, and it just falls kind of back down into the hole that it came out of, and you can see there's a puff of blood in the water as he sinks back down beneath.
Like you just hear Vasha's aggressive fella, and then she like looks at Jara. She's like, huh?
Well done. And Jara, you also held something.
Yes, so as soon as the guy opens, Jara being crouched down to make sure he's out of immediate eye range, is going to lunge up instinctively, placing a hand over the creature's mouth,
Yep.
and then go to stab it through the neck with the rapier.
Love it. Roll me an attack.
And Vasha, looking at Jara as he does this, sees his completely cold expression. His yellow eyes are just steel, essentially. He looks completely different than what he normally does.
So he's been quite friendly up to this point, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, he looks very murderous right now. So that is a 22 to hit.
Yeah, that's gonna hit.
That's doing 4 plus 4, 8. 60 points of damage.
Okay. That was a big hit, and as you pull it through and pull it back out, because it's an amphibious thing, you do manage to stab it through the neck, but because it's kind of got gills and lungs and other sort of anatomical things going on, that wasn't quite a kill shot, and you're kind of a bit annoyed about it actually, because that, I mean, on a human being that would have been fatal, but it's almost like gutting an animal. It's not quite there yet. Derek, were you going to move it or Jara?
I can't, because that was held action.
Yes, that's true.
But,
Derek.
But he will whisper under his breath to the creature. Shh, shh, shh. The Mist Shadow will come for you soon. Shh, keep quiet.
Derek.
Derek will roll out from behind the ballista, walk up to the fishman that is at the opposite door from where Jara is, pull out his belaying pin, and crack this thing upside the head.
Love it.
He will execute that poorly with a 10.
10 total?
Total.
Oh yeah, it just kind of reels back from your strike and kind of...
This isn't really what I'm doing here, folks.
and it leans back in and kind of snarls at you in this awful gurgling, wet kind of gargling snarl.
This went very different in his head.
Yeah, that happens to the best of us. Vasha.
Again, she looks to where the two were attacking the one that's been hit already, and you just hear those soft chimes again. So wisdom save.
These things are not wise.
Good.
That's an 8.
Yes. That is 8 points of necrotic damage.
Is this the one that... Which one is this? Is this the one that...
The one that Jara hit.
Yes, okay. Right. And again, just almost explodes in blood from within and crumples to its knees.
I imagine she's just like, everybody is like going up and tagging. She's like, blood.
Blood. The cleric is
like...
just murdering these things. Sam.
She's like,
Sam will. So there's just the one left, yes? If that one is just exploded in front of his face, yes?
Sure has.
Cool. Sam will, on realizing there's just one target left, spring up in the air, spin around, his skirt catches the breeze, looks stunning, pulls the hand axe out of his belt, and with the Morning Star in one hand, hand axe in the other, will run over and lay both into the remaining creature.
The one that Derek has missed.
Yes. Let's see if I can make up for that. 18.
Yes.
All right. So the Morning Star does 3,
Okie
and the
dokie.
hand axe does 1.
You're gonna have to roll. You're gonna have to roll separately for the 2 attacks.
Oh, do I? Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, the Morning Star does 3.
Yes.
The hand axe rolled a 19.
Yep.
Should I re-roll that damage, or do you want to keep the 1?
You're gonna have to re-roll the damage because you don't get with your offhand attack. You don't get. Do you have 2 attacks, or do you only have the 1 attack? I think you've only got 1 attack. You don't have a 2 attack feature, so that would be your dual
I've got it.
wielding.
They're like,
It's a two weapon fighting, so the second one is to add the modifier.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
So you'll have to.
Cool. So that's a 5 then, no
Oh.
modifier.
Well, there you go. That's much better.
That's much better.
Math.
Right.
Anytime you see me making this face, it's because I've got 2 English degrees.
No math in there.
Okay, Jara. The one you've been attacking has just kind of exploded into blood and dropped dead. For no
Jara's-
discernible reason.
Zhao is just staring down at it with a bit of annoyance in his eyes that his kill was stolen from him, but the cold mask he has breaks and he's just back to smirking as he seems to flick his hand and a dagger appears out of nowhere and just nonchalantly chucks it at the one standing.
Yep, cool. Roll me an attack.
That would be 19 plus 6, 25 to hit.
Yeah, that hits.
That would be a sneak attack because allies are within 5 feet.
Yes. Rogues, man!
That is max damage on the dice for 14.
Do you know how much you needed? I'm going to tell you, you needed 14.
Oh, nice.
What happens to him?
Jada just does it completely nonchalant, barely even looks, it's just at the corner of his eye, just tosses the dagger, and it just manages to sink through the eye into the brain.
Okay. Great.
I imagine that he's like, you probably like looked at Vasha, but out of the corner of your eye, you're just like, oh yeah, well, like that.
Definitely.
She's like, oh.
Yep. Yumi, you're still standing pretty much where the big fella was, yes? You haven't really moved. I am gonna say
What are you gonna do to me?
no, you're not quite out of initiative yet because those of you who were standing in front of the left-hand door can see behind it, in the space of the room that starts to head underwater, you can see kind of nestled in a pile of rocks is a group, like a circle of just foaming water, and you can see like little really strange looking, almost humanoid but tiny and amphibious creatures snapping out and up at each other. It looks like a swarm of maybe thousands of these things. They're about this big and they're snapping at each other, and it's this foamy bloody water, and crouched in front of it is a final Sahuagin. It hasn't moved towards you. It is in a defensive position in front of this very carnivorous group of teeny tiny Sahuagin. I'm gonna say, Yumi, you cannot see that. Those of you standing in front of the door can. So Yumi, as far as you can see, the threat has been neutralized.
Okay. Yeah, no, then
You're gonna do
go back to
anything?
normal.
Yeah, you're gonna move around. You can move, and
Okay, yeah, I
you
think
just
I
can't
might
see any
just,
enemies
like-
at this stage.
I think I'm actually gonna. I turn around because I'm aware that that there were more threats. I turn around, axe in hand. Ah! Oh, and then I see everything's taken care of. There's blood everywhere. It's just sort of like,
Keep in mind, you
Where's
will
that?
use your rage if you don't attack. You will lose your rage if you don't attack or take damage this turn.
There's nothing for me to attack, though, as far as I know. So I just turn around like, ah! Ugh. Okay, that's a lot of blood. How'd that get the... Basha, what did you do?
Like, I imagine right as you went, Basha went, Just,
Oh,
but then
don't
I
do
think
that.
Basha,
That's my
oh, sorry, that's my
point
dog.
by acting. Like, don't yell at me like that.
But like, I imagine, isn't Vasha like right in front of the door where she can see what's coming out? So,
as you turn around, I'd say that, yeah.
okay, so the sequence of events would be like Yumi turns around, and then Vasha's, and then she looks,
Just a lot of screaming.
like, she's like, and she points like lots of stuff.
It is the Sahuagin's turn. Yeah, it's gonna run up. Who would be closest to that door?
It would be either
It'd be-
me or Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah. Considering it's seen Sam do some damage, it's gonna run up, kind of dart forward. And you have all of your hit points, don't you? You haven't taken damage so far.
I don't know if I should admit that.
Oh, me.
But you have, I know you haven't taken damage so far. But it's gonna come up and, you know, the first thing it's gonna do is it's just gonna try and bite you. It's gonna take its big fleshy amphibious head and try and clamp it around your arm.
Great.
Oh boy, that's a 7. I'm gonna put that dice aside. That was pathetic, but then it is
I mean,
gonna take
I
its spear.
successfully whip my arm away before it manages to close its teeth.
It's disgusting.
Oh,
And it is gonna pick up its spear and try and jam it into you.
that makes more sense.
That's an 8.
Oh no.
That dice can go over there too. And
Just pirouetting around all the spheres.
shit, that's its turn, Derek. It is very close to you.
Yeah. I will do what I should have done the last round, which is as a bonus action, I will cast Shillelagh on my club. Forgot that was a thing. And then I will try to hit this away from Sam. Rolling a 17 to hit
Yes.
for a powerful 4 damage.
Every little bit helps. You do clock it though, and it definitely notices that hit. Okay, Vasha. The screaming has happened.
This screaming, and then just
I apologize.
Oh,
Can I take my
yes.
movement to strafe around it to get between it and the brood?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Not disengaging though.
Correct.
Gotcha. Vasha.
again, you just hear those eerie chimes and wisdom save.
Well, that's not the right dice. That is. That's a 19.
Nothing happens. I think she was like too much yelling, just not enough focus.
Yeah. Sam.
Sam just goes in with the Morning Star and the hand axe again.
Yep.
Okay, Morning Star is 7.
Do you use flanking, Alex?
I sure do. So that would be at an advantage.
That's-
Roll it again because that didn't hit.
Oh, that's a little better. No, that's less. That's a 6, not a 9.
I tried.
An attempt was made.
An attempt was made with the Morning Star. Let's go with the hand axe hand with a 12.
Just hits.
Yay! That is 5 damage.
Okay. Cool. It's looking not awesome at this point. Jara.
Jara is just going to very silently and very swiftly move up to this creature.
Mhm.
If he can, try and get behind it or in its blind spot.
You
And just
probably
in a very-
can't get behind it because Derek's already kind of strafed around. He
Eh,
did vacate a
okay.
spot directly in front of it, and you'll be able to get flanking because Derek's behind.
It was just for flavor, so it doesn't really matter. Just moving up
Yeah.
into his spade. And just as is his modus operandi, going for the neck.
There.
This rapier cutting through the air. That is a 12 plus 6, 18.
Yeah, it'll
to
hit.
And again, sneak attack
attack.
because ally is in 5 feet.
Yes.
I love rogues.
Rogues.
I love them so much. So that is 12 points of piercing damage.
How does he die?
Very, very silently and very quickly, as his throat is just straight through with the rapier.
Lovely. It crumples to the ground.
Oh, and Jada doesn't even look, just pulls the rapier out, bends down, and retrieves his dagger.
Fair. And then, as he falls to the ground, the only sounds that you can hear now are the waves slapping against the side of the ship, and the slightly disgusting, disturbing sound of the baby Sahuagin devouring each other. You are out of initiative.
Nice work. She looks around at all the blood and gore. She sees like flecks of it on her friends' faces. Took care of that rather nicely.
I do so hate it when I get blood in my fur. It's forever to wash it out.
Anybody else hear the wind chimes?
Yeah, wind chimes.
That's me. Sorry. Don't
Oh.
listen to them. They're not.
Okay.
Yeah, just
They were pretty though.
mm,
Is that where all the blood came from?
yeah, yes, that was
Okay, don't listen to the
death
wind.
chance.
Oh, Yumi just puts her axe away. Okay.
So it looks like they were trying to breed here. She looks
Yumi's
around.
finally gonna look
What?
Yumi's finally gonna look into the room.
Yeah, it's disgusting. It's like this
Yes.
foaming, bloody pool with teeny tiny little, like, fat Sahuagin basically just devouring each other with a high degree of aggression.
Is
Oh,
there
that
anything
is-
else in the room?
It looks like this room used to be a dining room. There's the table that used to be here has been smashed up and put up almost as a barricade around the rock pools that have broken, like the rocks. This is the point where the ship has been sheared off, by the way. Half of this room is gone. So there's only about half the room left, and within the rock pools that are jutting up from the ocean into this open-ended back of the ship is the rock pool where this carnage is happening, and it looks like the Sahuagin who were guarding this hatchling swarm had broken down the table and put it up as like a barricade against their own young.
Let's not move that table.
Yeah, I will calmly take my foot and kind of kick the Sahuagin bodies back into the room and then very politely close the door.
Yeah, you hear a brief moment where nothing changes, and then the kind of wet eating sounds intensify just dramatically. And a little bit of blood seeps out from under the door.
The subtitles under the door, wet eating sounds intensify.
I am not hungry at
That
all.
is disturbing.
Still a dining room. Mm.
Don't you
Oh,
think
that,
that doesn't-
Oh boy. And at this point, I will remind you, because it was in the primer, but we didn't kind of go into too much of that because I wanted to get started right in the action. The mission that you were put on by this counselor was to find his late mother's favourite merchant ship, recover anything valuable from it that you can find, and report back on its condition as to whether or not it can be salvaged. The second part is pretty obvious at this point.
Jada
Condition.
doing the first
Nasty
part.
as hell.
I don't think that mending is gonna fix this.
So Jada, looking to pursue the first part of their objective, is going to go back to the room he was first at, the one on the right.
Mhm.
And he's going to start poking around for any anything valuable. As he's doing so, he's wiping the blood off his rapier and dagger with his scarf.
Okay. Are you looking for anything in particular, or just valuables in general?
Just valuables in general, really.
Okay. Make me a perception check.
4, 19 plus 4 for 23.
Okay. 23. All right. Looking inside, this looks like it used to be the captain's cabin. So you find there's a narrow bed, probably the only place on the ship that has a bed rather than hammocks. You find a small writing desk. Hanging above the writing desk, in a little bit mildewy condition, but pretty good condition, is a gilt-framed portrait of a very striking young woman. Brown hair, big wide smile, tanned, weathered skin, and it's a very high-quality portrait in a beautiful gilt frame. And there's like a little identifying tag on it. That says the True Lady of the Dawn. And you gather this is the owner of the ship, a portrait of the Councillor's mother.
Okay.
You also have a look and find... You find a crate that is slightly open and that looks like a little bit of water did get in here, but not too much. Because it's not towards the back of it's kind of slightly towards the back of the room, and it looks like the back half of this crate may have gotten wet, but the top's been okay, and it's filled with several bolts of very fine cloth.
Can Sam have the cloth?
Sam is not aware of the cloth.
Ah!
And you said there was a desk.
Yes,
that right?
there is a desk.
Any drawers?
Yes, there are 2 drawers. It's like one of those just very simple desks that have the 2 drawers underneath the top.
Jada's just going to lean out of the door, whistle sharply to catch the attention, and then go and see if the doors are locked.
Yeah. One is not.
Okay, I'll focus on the locked one first, and Steve's doors come out, fumbling slightly because of the missing fingers, and go and see if he can't unlock them.
Yeah, slide a hand for me.
12 plus 6, 18.
18. Yeah, it clicks open. It's just a desk lock. It's not anything particularly difficult. You open it up and you find a small pouch, a small leather pouch that has about 10 gold pieces in mixed coinage in it.
Okay, before the group come in, going to try and pocket.
Okay, is anybody else coming into the room?
Yeah, Sam's going to go in, hearing the announcement that there's something in there.
Yeah. Okay, make me a sleight of hand, and anybody who is interested in seeing what he's doing, make me a perception check. Sleight of hand versus anybody's perception.
That's an 8.
Oh, that is not worth
That's
it.
a nice portrait. You see the lovely smile.
So
I forgot that I was muted. I'm there. I want to come too.
What was your sleight of hand, Jara?
So that is a 19 plus 6 for 25.
Sure, did anyone beat 25?
Definitely not.
No.
No way in a million years. Are you kidding me?
You very, very deftly just pocket that pouch.
And I'll go over and open the other door as well.
Okay, the other drawer was kind of almost half open already. And in it you find what looks like the captain's log. It's a journal, kind of waterlogged a little bit. Yeah. And actually, as you pull it out, it's got a smear of what looks like old blood on the front of it.
I think these might be the valuables we could take back to our employer. Draw fine fabric, portrait of his mother, and the captain's log, I think, would be well enough to satisfy the terms he gave us.
Do we have to give back all the fabric?
I mean, I am not going to tell if you choose to take a little bit for yourself.
I do believe that it is not our property, and it should be returned to its rightful owner unharmed and intact.
What if I just keep the most damaged bolt of fabric? It's valueless as far as he's concerned.
Maybe ask first.
Is
If
the
you're
log, like,
questioned,
open?
I'm sure he'll say yes. Because as you said, it's of no value.
Curse my noble bearing.
You mean
Sam
just lift
gathers
them
them
up
up.
and down?
Sam gathers them up, but does agree to barter for them rather than steal for them.
Yeah.
Aw.
Yumi, you got roughed up a little bit. How are you feeling?
She just looks sad at herself. I could be worse.
All right, I will touch you on the shoulder, and you regain 9 hit points.
I'm back to full health.
No problem.
Yeah, she says thank you.
Okay, so what? So Derek, you've also come into the room at this point. So everybody's kind of hanging out in what used to be the captain's room.
Yumi's gonna start trying to deconstruct the frame around the portrait so it can get wrapped up.
Yeah, it's just hanging on the wall. It's pretty easy just to unhook from the wall. It looks like a little bit of moisture's gotten in there and curled up one of the corners behind the glass bit. It's in pretty good condition. The frame itself looks like it was quite expensive, and
Well, this is easier. Yumi's not willing to bring an entire frame.
fair enough.
What are the
Is there-
fittings in the room like? Are there any fancy door handles, window clasps, that kind of a thing?
Make me an investigation check.
16.
16. Yeah, the door handle on the outside of the captain's bedroom is like very beautifully carved, it's like a brass sunburst.
Ooh. Yeah, can I go and take that off?
Yeah.
Great.
Make me either an athletics check or a sleight of hand check to see how you're actually removing this from the door.
Oh, slide. This is not a brute force job. This is a
Okay.
sleight of hand job.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, 6.
You're like tinkering with it, and your hands kind of slip. It's damp. It's salty. It's like encrusted with it's. You can't. You're not doing a great job of removing the doorknob. Do you have any tools to help you remove the doorknob at all?
I
You
look
can
through
always
my
ask for help
bag
in stealing
and
the
pull
door.
out my disguise kit and think that's of no use here. I appeal to everyone. This door handle's really nice. I mean, it's obviously worth something. It's solid metal. It's gorgeous. Can someone with more competent fingers than I help me out here?
Yumi's
Jar
gonna
is
come
out.
over and off.
Oh.
Rip.
Okay. Make me an
All right.
athletics check.
You go, girl.
Unless someone speaks up and stops her, which is totally fine.
Go for it.
Okay, just checking. Wait, what am I rolling?
That'll be athletics. That'll be the athletics for you.
Well, that's let's see. That's an 18.
Yeah, the wood's been like softened from months and months of misuse and neglect, and you just wrench it out. You leave a hole in the wood behind. The doorknob is still attached to the wood. You've just pulled out like part of the plank. You have
Sam applauds.
pulled
I
up
hand it
the
to
doorknob.
Sam.
Thank you.
What? It looks like that's blood on the captain's log. Is it rolled up in like a scroll, or
It's
is
like
it-
a book. It's like a journal book, a leather bound.
Is it locked with a clasp, or is it just open?
Just a book.
Perhaps we can find out if something obviously happened, but maybe we can find out some more details. Or
Maybe we hope it is worth a try.
she's gonna
Captain's
just,
log. C date 24/28.
when she said captain's log, I was like, star date, blah, 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 blah. Vasha opens it very delicately, and she just takes like a quick appraisal of it.
And a quick appraisal is all it really takes. You flip through, and it's very much a dry kind of account of what the weather's like, what the winds were like, the speed of the ship, the all the bearings. You flip through and you see that right at the beginning there was a section on the cargo that's down on the lower deck and in the hold, and it looks like they were carrying a lot of stuff down on the lower deck. It looks like they were transporting various alchemical concoctions from up in Greyhawk itself. You were in the Kingdom of Kael'thand at the moment, and up in Greyhawk itself, it looks like these were a specific shipment for the miners who are in town at the moment. And it was some alchemical concoctions, some of them marked with a star, and those were marked throughout the lower deck. And in the hold, you see that there are a couple of interesting things marked, particularly 2 items. There is one that just says jug, but it's got a big star next to it and a note that says for ooze, for IUZ. And that one's kind of been called out with like a little box around it, like this was an important thing, and it's down in the hold. But that's right at the beginning, and as you flip through this very dry journal of winds, headings, you get to the very final page. And on the final page, there is no date written. There is no notation of the heading or the wind or what the weather's like. It's just a single word scrawled in a very messy hand that says Kraken.
I think this confirms what we feared. And she opens, she's flipping to the page, she reads it, very concerned look kind of comes over her face, and she flips it around gingerly and she holds the words right out to the rest of the party.
I knew it.
I don't mean to interrupt, but what does that say exactly? I was never taught how to.
Oh, absolutely, darling. It says Kraken.
Thank you. Sorry, it's just I'm more practical knowledge than my letters. And
not to worry, I will read you whatever you need.
Most appreciated.
Yumi comes up behind him and pats him on the shoulder. Don't worry about it.
It looks like they were carrying a mess of goods, alchemical concoctions of some sort. I think it's from Greyhawk, and they were bringing them to the miners here. But there's also something. What was the note on the? It's a jug, and then it said.
It just says jug dash ooze. So IUZ, which traditionally in Saltmarsh, the locals of Saltmarsh don't really give much of a damn about the rest of the world's politics. Everybody's either a trading partner or they aren't. The Empire of Ooze is a trading partner, but for those of you who have travelled outside of Kael'thand, outside of Saltmarsh, to you, the Empire of Ooze has a slightly different meaning. The Empire of Ooze is kind of like a totalitarian regime that is doing its level best to take over any and all of its neighbours, and it is ruled by a demigod. So it's generally known as a pretty scary place, but for Saltmarsh locals, it's just another trading partner. Whispers of war have not reached Kael'thand's ears, and for Saltmarsh people, Ooze is just a very lucrative trading partner.
So when Vasha reads the jug ooze off from the book, I'll kind of give a glance around to the rest of the party and gauge their reaction on what they respond to that.
Yeah, Sam's disconcerted by the mention of ooze. As much as he's young, he's heard stories.
Yeah, Yumi folds her arms and frowns very deeply. She does not like that sound at all.
Jara just starts rubbing at the fur around his mouth and just, that this is but not good news indeed.
That's
I
bad.
still recognize the Empire's name. I had a few unfortunate encounters there in my past.
They're a bunch of murderers, is what they are.
Yeah, they're generally accepted as not great. But for Saltmarsh, they buy a lot of, specifically they buy a lot of magic items for a very, very high price. So they're, for Saltmarsh locals, Empire of Ooze is great. They fund a lot of town things.
So does that mean this jug is buried somewhere under the boat in the water if it's going to be that valuable?
It was definitely marked as in the hold.
Has it been destroyed? Does anyone think? Derek, what condition would the boat be in down there?
It could be partially underwater. It could be relatively clear. It depends on if the hull stayed intact when it hit the rocks. I imagine that we would have some way to get down there.
Yeah.
Well, what is life without risk? I put my vote if it's worth anything to go in to see if we can't find this jug.
If it was going to ooze, it should stay there or it should be destroyed.
Either way, we should check that out, right?
I don't have any particular need to see anything go to help ooze. It would just as easily be sank as it would be delivered. If we find something and it has any kind of value or power to it, I'd rather see it used to protect people than to further some kind of totalitarian regime. That's just one man's stance, of course.
No, I'm with you.
I'm on board with that.
Is that I can agree on?
I agree as well. Let's take a look for it.
Vasha, you're a sea elf. Can't you swim?
Very well.
Very well you can swim, or very well you don't mind going and looking in the hold?
Yes.
I guess either.
Can anyone accompany her?
I used to be a strong swimmer. Since my few injuries, not so much anymore. I'm passable, but not strong.
Jimmy just looks down at the ground and says very quietly, "I can't swim."
Great place for it.
You were surrounded by open ocean.
She was! She was holding on to that boat with white knuckles.
You can hold your breath for a maximum of 1 plus your constitution modifier, or I believe Vasha has... Does Vasha have swimming speed?
I do. I can breathe water and air, so I don't have any issue with that.
Yeah.
Sam's not the strongest swimmer, but he leaves the question in the air.
As I said, a few injuries over my life. I'm not a strong swimmer, and it is hard for me to hold my breath for a long period of time. The strain is too much. A few acidic smokes and the like.
Right. So she looks at Derek and Sam, and she's like, "Rock, paper, scissors."
Sure, let's do this.
Stone parchment knife.
Yeah, I was trying to think of like something more Faerun.
Yep, parchment boulder shears. Let's go. I'll punch you first.
No, stop it. Okay.
Sam Shrug says, let's go diving. Let's do this, Vasha.
All right, let's go.
So you guys make your way back over to the staircase that you toppled the large Sahuagin down, that leads into the lower deck and the hold. And as you look down into it, you can see directly beneath the stairs leading down to the lower deck. You can see through the water, which is fairly clear. It's a bit dark, but it's quite clear. You can see there is another staircase beneath it going into the hold, and each of these is about 10 feet deep. It gets a little bit narrower as you go down, so I say it's probably 6 feet, so it's probably a total of 12 feet to the bottom of the hold. Looking at it, Sam and Derek, you're not sure if you can make it to the bottom of the hold. You possibly can, but it might be a bit dicey. You could definitely make it into the lower deck, though it's like just below the surface.
Well, I'm probably going to be the only one that's able to reach the real low spot. So why don't you come in and just watch my back, make sure nothing attacks me, if there's anything down here. Shall we?
Sounds good.
She puts her hand on his arm, and she's like, if this helps, and you just feel like infused with a little bit of help, a little warmth on your arm, and you have guidance if you need it.
Thank you.
That lasts for just a minute, though, so.
Be quick.
Yes, quick like a button. And she descends.
Cool. All right, so who else is jumping down the hole? Is it just Varsha or Derek and...
Sam's going to go try and stay above water, but in the water, ready for action as needed. He'll strip off down to his jerkin and undershorts.
Okay. Yep. And jumping on in.
Derek's not.
A decision has been made. Derek's like, Fair enough. Like a true sailor, he's got a healthy respect for the dangers beneath.
There was a kraken in this water, and it wrote kraken in the ship's log. There's no way I'm jumping in the water in this.
Not his jam. Fair enough. All right, Varsha, you swim down into the lower deck, and this area, it starts to get quite dark because there's really only light coming in through the stairway that you went down and through the back of the ship. There's enough to see by though, and especially I believe you've got dark vision, so it's enough to see by, but the kind of the front of the ship that's still intact starts to get very, very murky. You can see that there are crates and sacks and bags floating around in here, bumping up against the ceiling. Some have floated out the back. Some are trapped down underneath a net, like a cargo net. And it looks like beneath the cargo net, there's a couple of very nice looking chests and some very well sewn bags. So it looks like the expensive stuff was like tied down and the rest has just been left.
She first assesses the whole area. She looks to see if she can make out any more Shahugan or anything like that. You want perception?
Okay. Yes, please.
Okay. Oh, what is that? That is a 12.
Yeah, you look around and it looks like, no. This area is silent and almost serene. If it wasn't for the back of the ship that's been sheared off and that you now are ominously aware that has been done by a kraken, this would be quite peaceful.
She moves around with a comfortable grace, familiar with, just very at home and comfortable in the water. She's kind of nosing around, looking at the chests, thinking maybe this will hold something, or the jug.
The ones, so you're on the lower deck at the moment. So you're gonna
we're going to the...
Yeah, you saw in the book that there was a couple of notations for things on the lower deck, and just the jug noted on the hold. So it looks like what the captain wrote in his book in terms of the cargo, that wasn't the full cargo log, that was just, here are the special things that I need to personally look after as the captain.
How big are the chests? Are they like something Varsha could pick up and just kind of...
They're small. Some of them are big, some of them are sacks. There is one chest that's probably about hand size, like about that big.
She grabs them and kind of one by one, she'll bring them, hand them to Sam and just say, hand it to the rest of the group.
That chest is underneath a netting that is keeping it from floating off to sea. So to get it out, I'm going to say that you're going to have to make me a general dexterity check just to maneuver it out from under this.
That is 15.
15, yeah. The netting is kind of grabbing at you a bit, and it's a little bit difficult, but you manage to slide it through, like stretch the net and slide it through one of the holes.
Okay. She brings it to Sam. Pass it along.
Is it openable, Alex?
It's locked. You kind of go to open it like happily, like, oh, I wonder what. No, yeah, it's locked.
Yeah. I pass it on up to. Is there someone there, or am I just chucking it up on the deck?
I would imagine.
Derek, it's locked.
Okay.
So she does this for any of the chests that she can grab.
Yeah, the others are fairly big and would probably take another person to help you hoist them up.
And she just, not worth it. She begins to, she like makes eye contact with Sam. Now we have to go to the other area.
Good luck.
Are you coming at all? Take a deep, nice breath. Hold it nice and tight, and then just...
And yep, I
Okay.
somewhat foolishly dive in after her.
Okay, so you're gonna dive in after her down into the hold.
I'm gonna regret this, but he's
Okay.
he's excited. He's excited at the concept of treasure. What can I say?
What is your constitution modifier?
+1.
So you can hold your breath for 2 minutes.
Cool.
You've got 2 minutes down here.
Can I use her assistance to increase that? I know it doesn't really work like that.
No, it's not really a roll.
Yeah, no, I know. I was trying my luck there. All good.
And then she does this kind of motion where she's like, if you need to go, but yeah.
Okay, so you guys, yeah. As a scuba diver, this means I'm going up. This is bad. So, so you guys head down to the next staircase, and it starts getting much darker down here. But because the back of the ship is gone, there's still a fair bit of sunlight coming through. And down in the hold, there is much more things. There are many, many more crates and barrels and bags of things. Everything down here is covered in netting to keep it from moving about, presumably to keep the ship stable. And it's the ceiling's quite low in here. There's probably only about 5 feet of space between the base of the ship and the top of the hold. This is not a place for people to hang out. This is just cargo.
Can we see anything that looks even remotely Jug-esque?
Get you to make me an investigation check.
5.
17.
Sam, you are just concentrating on not dying. Vasha, though, very, very easily you see that there is, towards the back of the hold, what used to be the back of the hold and is now sheared off, kind of hanging off the edge of the back of this, and wrapped around the beams, is a very tight bit of netting, something that looks very, very secure. And caught in just on the edges of that, almost kind of thrown out into the open ocean, is a very ornate golden jug. It's all very swirly, twisted, crafted metal. It looks very, very beautiful. It's kind of bobbing in the waves on the very edge of this netting.
She looks at it and she just gets this uneasy feeling where she's like, I just really don't like how it's like perilously close to the abyss. She very delicately approaches. She's looking around, seeing if she hears anything, especially she knows to be always cautious in the ocean. She's worried that something might come up from under that she wasn't aware of was there. So she's very slowly and quietly kind of swimming through the water. Does she hear or see anything?
It's kind of hard to hear anything down here because all you're really hearing are the bubbles of your own breath. Well, you wouldn't because you're breathing water, but you can definitely hear Sam's like... breathing as every now and then he's expelling bubbles. I'd say you're at about halfway there, Sam, as well. You're probably about a minute. The correct scuba diving sign. But no, you really don't hear or see anything as you're swimming towards the back of the hold. It seems all quiet. As you pass under the bit where where a couple of levels up would be the old dining room, you think you can kind of hear the sounds of the swarm devouring what remains of the last couple of Sahuagin that you slayed. But that could just, you don't know if that's just, you know, you hearing a sound that you really don't want to hear.
She approaches it, and she like pulls out one of her arrows, so she's got the sharp arrowhead, and she's gonna try to like cut away at some of the netting.
Yeah, absolutely. Make me a dexterity. General dexterity.
Where did my dex go? 13.
13. Yeah, it takes you a little while, because the way that things float around in the water and the lack of gravity just kind of, it takes you a little while, and you're also looking around to make sure nothing's happening. So it probably takes you another 30 seconds. You're getting close to the limit, Sam.
She looks back and she's like,
Sam's like tapping her and trying to indicate as
Like-
best she can, like hurry up.
Yeah, you do get it. I'll get you to make a perception check for me.
ooh, 20, not natural.
Not natural. As you're doing this and you look down, this ship has been running around over exactly as you said, an abyss. There is some kind of trench here and it just disappears into absolute blackness. But as you're working at the arrow and looking down, you see a slight movement on the rocks beneath as these rocks that the ship is run aground on disappear into the darkness. Just where your dark vision starts to fade into blackness from the grayscale vision, you can see what looks like a person clawing their way back up the rocks. It's probably, I mean, what's your dark vision? 60 feet?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so it's probably just at the very edge of that, about 60 feet away from you. And as it gains another 10 feet and into your dark vision, your grayscale but quite clear dark vision, you can see that this person is dressed in the remains of a sailor's clothing, but half their face is rotted away. And as they reach hand over hand up towards you, you can see the ends of the hands, there's no skin on them, it's just bone, as they pull themselves steadily but slowly up the rock towards you. And when they're within about 55 feet of you, you see another hand emerge from the darkness beneath it.
Sam, completely oblivious to this,
You
but can
cannot
I
see
see Varsha's expression? Can I just tap her and
She's
urgently?
looking down and she's at the other end of the ship to you.
Ah, I assumed I was behind her.
Okay,
Sorry.
yeah, no, if you swam behind her, then yeah, she's right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, no, I need to tap her and say, I'm going up. I'm running out of air. Pass me the
She's
jug.
like, she's like, time to go, time to go.
Yeah, and at that point, snap, the final part of the netting breaks free.
Yeah, is that thing like within, okay, you said 55 feet.
It's about 55 feet away.
Okay.
And it's
She-
gaining at you, not quickly, but steadily.
She's like, go, 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 go. And she's like kind of pushing him like very urgently. You can tell she's very distressed by what she's seen.
Yep, he goes.
Yep. I'd say that you are very nearly out of breath by the time you hit the top of the lower deck, and as your head breaks through, your lungs are starting to hurt.
Get to the top of the deck now. And she like is just like,
Yep.
like urgent. Like she sees people like fiddling with the like chest and stuff. She's like, we have to go. We have to go.
Yeah, as soon as that chest came up, by the way, Jara would have pulled his thieves' tools out of his pocket of his waistcoat and gone
Yep.
to try and open it.
Yep. Okay. Make me a sleight of hand check. So this is happening while you're working at the rope downstairs.
So that is a 16.
16. It's not quite enough. You're surprised at yourself. You thought you did pretty bloody good there. But your lockpicks don't quite break, but as you start pushing them and forcing them, you think, oh, this is actually... I may have to give this a go in a better environment.
We only need to do this when we get back to shore. I've lost some skills since I lost some fingers, unfortunately.
Is it at this point that you see us kind of like emerge?
Yeah, I'd say that's about that point. You're like, "Ugh." And the two of you emerge from the lower deck.
Like I'm imagining you probably see Sam like gasp for air, but then like Vasha just like ascends out of it, and she's just as if there's no change in breathable atmosphere for her. And she goes, "There are undead things down below. They are chasing us. We need to get to the top."
Not the weirdest things I've experienced on the sea. Let's go.
Oh yeah, let's time to go. Let's
Yep.
go.
Scoop up everything as much as we can. And can we jump off, or do we need to climb back down the rope?
That's up to you.
How big did you say this crate? The crate with all the
Oh,
cloth
it's
in?
little. It's like that.
Okay, in that case, since I've got the climb speed, and that's probably the bulkiest item,
Yeah.
Jada will take that, scurry back down the rocks.
Yeah, you've got climbing speed. You don't need to really do anything with that.
As soon as I heard them say it's time to go, I ran out to the top and then leapt off the side of the boat or the ship onto the boat.
Yep.
It's only 20 feet. That's not that.
Can
No,
can
that's fine.
Sam throw the bolts of fabric down to? I guess Derek's the one down there.
Yep, so you
The
run
point
into
is-
the room, grab them. I would say that Derek, just make me a general dexterity check to see if when you hit the boat, because you're jumping into it and that's going to cause it to rock a bit, to see if you keep your
Yeah.
footing.
8. I did not.
You can probably make it with advantage because this is like your thing.
Okay. 12.
12, that's enough. If you make a 10, it's like, this is your thing. You stumble a little bit, but right yourself just in time for Jara to
Yeah,
kind
so-
of land beside you and steady the boat.
And I'm untying the ship from the
Yeah, Yeah.
rocks and all that, getting ready to make way.
absolutely.
As in
Sam, you are
time.
running back into the room to grab the bolts of cloth.
I'm grabbing the bolts of fabric to throw them over to whoever is in the boat at the time I get there.
Yeah, that'll take you just a second. Yumi and Vasha.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I run up with everyone, and then she jumps off into the smaller boat.
Yep. You're taking a leap. Make me a dexterity check to see how that landing goes for you.
Actually, can she just like leap into the ocean, like right next to it?
Yeah, and then climb
and
in.
like, yeah, because she's so like, oh, water, whatever.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you want to roll for anything?
No, what is your thing? So I think once you get in, you can cinnamon. You can probably get a dexterity or an athletics check for me to pull yourself back over the side of the boat.
5.
5.
Like, oh, nice.
You kind of slide back off the edge because somebody else lands in it at the same moment and it's rocking about.
Yeah.
So you're
Yeah.
still in the water at this point. Yumi.
I think as soon as I heard undead, I made sure I was like last person out, making sure like Vash was not gonna get in trouble because they're actually good for undead, pretty sure. And I think actually I get to the edge of like having to get off the ship, and I like stop because I realize I'm huge. That's a tiny boat, 20 feet down in the water.
Like,
What's gonna happen if I jump in there now?
you can always try and like abseil down the rope.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I was about to jump. I was like, wait a minute, I'm the heaviest person here. And so,
that'll
yeah,
be
there's some-
that'll be an athletics check if you're going to try and kind of abseil into the ship.
Yeah. Oh boy. All right, hang on. Oh no, it's a 12 total.
Yeah,
I rolled
you're all
sick.
good. It's you hit a little bit of a stagger as you land in the boat, and it's just enough to knock Vasha off the side as she's trying to climb in.
I'm gonna reach down and mom arm Yasha into the boat.
Okay. Easy. You can do that quite
Sure.
easily.
Yeah, I just grab, thud.
And Sam throws the bolts of cloth down first, and then how do you get back into the boat?
He'll rope his way down.
Yeah, athletics plus.
Let me roll. That is 15.
15, yeah, very deftly roll yourself back into the boat. And in the time that it's taken you to kind of get all your stuff together and get back into the boat, it's probably taken a minute or so. And you see on the forecastle in front of you, just looking back up into the ship, you can see movement at the top of the forecastle. Because of the angle where you are and the ship's right up there, you can't really see what's happening up there, but you can definitely see movement on the forecastle.
Jada is currently, letting down the sails and prepping.
Yep.
As tying it, he's helping.
Yep, so you
in
guys are
prepping.
working together to make sure that the ship is ready to go.
You see Vasha come up to the part of the ship or the boat that is closest to the ship, and so she's kind of like taking a protective stand. She puts up her shield and she's holding her hand, waiting in case she needs to act. And she's like, faster we can move the better.
All right, so you guys kick off the boat. There is a nice strong breeze today. The sails immediately catch. Derek, are you at the helm?
Of course.
Make me a survival check.
Natural 20.
Amazing. You deftly, as soon as the sails are unfurled, crack, you're off into the ocean, and you just immediately, you almost like it's second nature, remembering the path that you took in to get here, managing to get back out. Just as it's taking off, the undead soldier that you saw climbing up after you, slowly but steadily, has reached the railing, and you can see his bloated face rising up over the railing as he launches himself off towards you. It's going to be difficult for him to actually make it onto your boat because of that natural 20. No. And into the water just behind you, and you can see his hand reaching up out of the water before he sinks back underneath. And as you're clipping away from the Lady of the Dawn, from the ruined Lady of the Dawn, you see a swarm of maybe 40 undead come up over the forecastle, some of them hurling them off the edge in an attempt to get at you.
My gosh.
Yeesh.
But because of that natural 20, you speed away back towards Saltmarsh. It's about probably an 6-hour trip back to Saltmarsh. You left at dawn. You expect to be coming back in around dusk. Is there anything in particular you would like to do on your way back in?
So Jara has 2 things he would like to do. The first is have another go at that lock box.
Yep.
Now that I'm not rushing as much.
Yep.
That's a 19.
Yeah. So this time, click, you managed to get it open. And inside you can see there are, where are my notes? You can see that there are 4 vials. 3 of them are kind of a ruby red color. 3 glass vials, 3 of them are a ruby red. And the 4th one, when you first look at it, it looks like it's completely empty. But as you kind of squint at it, you see like almost a swirl of wind within it.
Okay.
And those 3 are kind of nestled in those 4 are kind of nestled in the little crate.
So he'll draw everyone's attention to that, and then take a moment at some point over that 6 hours to go off to one side, and he takes out like a leather scrap that's got words on it that he can't read, and takes the time to very carefully copy what's written on there onto a scrap piece of paper, places it into that pouch that he took, with the plans for as soon as he gets back to Saltmarsh to send it off to the person he wants to deliver it to.
Okay. Anyone else doing anything on this journey back?
We should definitely be examining the jug and making a call on whether we deliver that or not.
Going to should not go to them. It either gets destroyed or that's about it.
Is there anything in it? Is it openable? Does it contain things?
It's an open top, and it doesn't look like there's anything in it at the moment.
I do agree with Yumi. This should not be handed over, especially not to the Empire. Whether
For all we know, it caused those undead.
No, that's a terrifying thought.
Mm-hmm.
Do we destroy it?
Yeah, smash it.
I'm wary of destroying magical art when you don't know what they do.
Right. Is anybody here capable of examining this to see if there's any magical properties?
Sadly not, no.
Maybe
Not as
before,
level 1.
maybe before, maybe when we become more adept at examining things, we should hold on to this until that time before we destroy it. We don't know if this could aid us or something, but maybe not. Maybe we shouldn't mention it.
Is anyone good at keeping things secret, safe?
I do happen to have a few. Perhaps I should be honest. We might be looking to continue this working relationship. I happen to have a bit of a, let's just call it criminal past. I happen to have a few hideouts and bolt holes that I can smuggle something away into, so to say.
Sam's totally impressed by that. Yeah, let's do it.
I don't talk to anyone, so I'm good at keeping secrets.
Fair enough.
Vasha turns away and she kind of just like crosses her arms and she's staring off in the direction that they were fleeing from.
Mm.
She's like, I have never seen hordes of undead emerge from the depths like that, have I?
No, you're probably aware that that's a thing that can sometimes happen to crews when they are lost at sea, but it's usually one or two might be found on a ship that has been sunk in the depths. Whereas it looks like all the crew on this ship went down and are now coming back up, and that's a little different.
I think that there is something sinister going on here. We have a verified Kraken attack, Shahugan, which don't normally find themselves in this area, and hordes of undead. There is something much more than a wrecked ship going on.
With the Sahugan, I will say that you think they were probably drawn to the ship as it was a perfect spot to keep the hatchling swarm, the very aggressive hatchling swarm, safe.
Okay. The other stuff, very strange.
So are we in agreement, by the way? Are we keeping the jug a secret? Are we keeping the vials a secret as well?
The vials don't seem dangerous. They weren't marked for going to's, so it's his property. It should get returned. And considering he's lost a ship, he needs to make back his money somehow.
That makes sense. But yeah, definitely keep that jug somewhere safe until we know more.
Yeah. So you hand it over to Jara?
Yeah.
Yeah. As you're handing it over, it makes a sloshing sound. You can hear something liquidy sloshing around inside it, even though you just looked into it and it was empty.
Does anyone have a cork?
I don't have a spare one on me at the moment. She pulls out seaweed. Do you not have it, this?
Jada will tilt the jug upside down. Was careful to do it over the side of the boat, so it's not pouring something into the boat.
Vasha looks totally offended by this gesture.
No, nothing comes out. It just sloshes. You can hear it sloshing.
Huh.
It is filled with something that we cannot go forth. Interesting. I don't know.
Yumi holds her hands out for a moment. And may I?
No, of course.
Okay. She's going to. Yeah, she's going to inspect it, turn it over in her hands, shake it up next to her ear, and then she's gonna stick her hand in, feel around.
Yeah, feels empty.
And she's going to next. She's gonna do something else. Probably looks a little strange. She's gonna stick part of her face in and just say, "Hello."
It kind of echoes a little bit. It looks empty.
Huh.
It sloshes as you do it.
Well, this is so interesting. Okay, well, Here, and she hands it back to Jara. Just wanted to see.
When we get back to shore, I'll disappear for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, something like that, and then I'll be right back. And make sure it's put somewhere safe.
Okay.
As far as I know, none of my stores have ever been found.
Well, so you guys make it back to shore, and as you dock the boat and spend a bit of time returning the boat to your employer for this particular mission, tying it up at his particular dock, before going up to see him, Jara disappears for about 10 minutes and returns empty-handed without the jug. And then, do you guys make your way straight back to the counsellor who employed you, or I mean, you've got the painting with you. It's probably it's probably about 6 o'clock in the evening. The sun's starting to go down, and there are a lot of fishing boats returning. And
So
merchant
I say
ships are setting out, fishing boats are returning. It's a very, very busy time on the docks.
So I say we go turn this all into the counselor, and then we all go and get some drinks.
Yeah, I want to hear those stories you've been talking about so much.
And I do believe that Vasha promised me a story of the sort of place as well, so I am more than happy to share it into it.
Great. So you guys...
I have questions.
So many questions. So you guys all head back up to the office of the counsellor who hired you. You are met at the door by his butler, who would have hired all of you separately at this point, except for Varsha, who Jara introduced to the mission. No, except for Yumi. Jara introduced Yumi to the mission. Yeah, so this is the first time you're meeting this individual, but the door is answered by a tall and lean man, probably in his early to mid 40s, dark weathered skin, and a shock of short cropped silver hair. And he greets you quite warmly. Looks around all of you. Yes, Master Anders has been eagerly awaiting your return. Do come inside. He's quite well spoken for somebody who's obviously spent all of their life in this region, and welcomes you upstairs into his master's office. The office of this counsellor is unavoidably nautical, as most homes of long-term Saltmarsh residents are. His wood-panelled office it's warm, it's bright. The evening sunlight is streaming through a big window that looks out over the docks. Maps of open expanses of water dotted with islands and edged with coastline dominate virtually every space in this office, with particularly beautiful shells and other recovered objects, either displayed or kind of almost too carefully strewn about for it to be real mess. Displayed on the wall near the door is a beautiful portrait in a similar gilt frame to the one you found in the ship of a much older woman, but with very, very similar features. As you enter, a man behind the desk stands up and rushes over to you. He's small and slight and younger than most of you. He looks like he's only about 22 years old, which you would have remarked upon the first time you met him. He's got very sharp features, the same wide toothy grin that his mother had, and a messy shock of brown hair. He seems just delighted to see you all and comes up and makes a point of shaking each one of your hands. It's wonderful. I was hoping you'd be back before the day was through. It's difficult to dock here at night. Well, tell me everything. Tell me, what did you find? Did you find it?
We did.
We found it.
Uh-huh.
What's left of it, unfortunately.
Oh.
I'm afraid that it's a pretty devastating wreck. Split right clean in two.
Oh my. So no chance of salvaging it,
Sam hands over the broken doorknob at this point.
No.
I suppose you could take it for what ornamentation remains. But if you do happen to send anyone back, I would advise have them warmed and armed. There happens to be a very particularly vicious swarm of young
So,
Hoogan. Thank you.
No idea how many times I practiced that.
Send Clerics. Lots of clerics.
And a few sightings of undead as we left.
Right. Oh, okay. So ship unsalvageable. Did you regain any of the cargo at all? I believe my mother was transporting some very important goods on that ship.
Where we did manage to retrieve one aspect of the cargo. Within this box, there were 3 vials. This was all we were able to retrieve before the undead were set upon us, and we had to.
And he looks at them, opens them up. Well, these were for the miners. The ship was lost months ago, just before my mother's unfortunate death. And he looks to the portrait on the wall, his eyes shining. He clearly loved his mother very much. In the chaos following her death, we didn't really have time to, Anyway, the miners have their potions. We had to order a replacement for them, as was the deal with the crown. And he kind of looks down at the box, shuts it back up, and hands it back towards you. There is nobody to take this order. You may as well keep them.
Most graciously received. We did manage to retrieve some cloth as well, fine cloth from the captain's quarters, and his log, which, well, although it wasn't very descriptive, it does explain what happened to the ship on the final page.
As well as a portrait, which, based on the one that you have on the wall, would appear to be somewhat of import to you.
And as you hand it over, you're kind of handing him the items, and he just completely ignores. He kind of palms off the cloth and the captain's log to his butler, who's standing there. Scarin, you take those things. And immediately reaches out for the portrait, which I believe you rolled up to transport, and unrolls it, and a big wide grin comes across his face. The Lady of the Dawn always had my favorite painting of her. This is magnificent. It's barely even damaged. Thank you so much. The loss of the ship pales in comparison to the loss of my good mother, but you've brought some of her back to me, and that's more than I could have hoped for. Your foray out there, though dangerous, I understand, was more than worth it if you were able to bring this back to me. And he kind of just starts wandering off through his office, trying to find a place to hang it. Like, this is all he cares about now. And
Yumi.
Yeah.
Yumi puts a hand up, but she realizes she probably can't get his attention, just making a motion. Sir, if I noticed that your silks were highly damaged, we would be more than happy to take some of the damaged cloth off of your hands.
Oh, yes,
use
it's
the
fine.
undamaged cloth,
Fine,
please.
take it. It's fine. That belonged to the captain, and apparently he has no more use for it. Just take it. And he's completely distracted now, and you can see Scarin the butler is palming the cloth back to you, and is flipping through the book. Reaches the pages that has all of the cargo, the important cargo on it, and kind of winces. Captain Zentros is not going to be happy with this, sir, but it appears we've lost her jug. And he keeps flipping through, and reaches the end, and you see his face just go completely ashen.
Must have read the last page.
He snaps the book shut. Anders, Master Solma. Is this true? Is this... And he turns back to you. Is this what you saw? Does this check out? Was it...
Well, of course, we didn't see.
Well,
the
no,
beast,
of course you wouldn't be here if you saw a kraken, but...
But having lived through a similar experience myself, I can tell you it had all the same telltale signs.
You've lived through... You say you've lived through a kraken experience. I was but a boy the last time a kraken made landfall in these parts, and it was... This is worrying.
I agree.
Right.
Do you remember anything about that?
Death. I remember death. Young lady, the city wasn't the same for decades. God's help us all if it ever happens again. It wiped the town off the map almost and had to be rebuilt from scratch, but we're a hardy bunch and we did it, but I don't like this one bit. And he snaps the journal closed and tucks it into his pocket. Rest assured, though, this information is extremely valuable. We will make sure that patrols are sent out, that a lookout is established. And he looks over to the councilman, to Anders. We need to convince the council to take this seriously, and Anders kind of looks back from the portrait. He still seems quite distracted. The dude is very, very young. He took over his position took over the position on the council when his mother died, and whether or not he's really ready for this is maybe up for some debate. But he looks back, he's, oh yes, they all listen to me, they all like me. I'm sure we can get the point across. And goes back to looking for where to hang the boat, to hang the picture you took off the boat. Scarin looks back to you. You've done well, you've done extremely well bringing this back to us. And starts rummaging around in his pockets. I believe I promised each of you 100 gold apiece for this mission. And he smiles towards Anders. Our master pays extremely well. The benefits of having the largest fleet in town, I believe, are self-evident. May we count on you again for additional jobs such as this?
If the pay is just as good, of course.
Absolutely.
And as Scarin starts to hand the gold over to each of you, Anders wells back around and says, "Oh, I have an idea. I do have an idea. I have an idea, Scarin. The gold, of course, you are most welcome to take, but 100 gold for each of you. It's a hefty amount of coin, but if it would suit you better, and this is entirely up to you, of course, my friends. I wouldn't push anything on you ever, but if it would suit you better, I do have a keel boat that I've recently taken out of commission. It's in perfect working order, of course. We've just got
Sold.
I mean, it would be for all of you. It would be a boat for all of you instead of the 100 gold each. But it's in perfect working order. It just we've got new models that they're much faster, and we just really have no need of it anymore. I was going to sell it, but that takes time and everything's so busy. If you would like, I can write you up the papers for this ship instead of the gold.
I would like the ship.
With the
What about you all?
If the is the ship worth 500 gold?
It is worth. Well, you probably don't know this. How much time have you spent on the water, Sam?
Is it worth 500 gold?
I'm a marine, I think.
Yeah, you immediately know that it's probably worth about 5,000 gold.
Yeah.
And she looks, snaps back at him. She's like, "It is a very generous offer."
And we could do with this boat as we please.
Oh, yes, completely yours, completely yours. The hassle of selling boats, keel boats especially, it's similar to the one you went out on. It's not a large ship, but the hassle of selling something that is more of a personal craft than a commercial craft, it's really not worth my time these days.
Jara is very noticeably quiet and very noticeably stony faced as he's just staring at this gold. But he's staying silent and letting the group make the decision.
Yumi looks conflicted.
This ship would allow us to continue investigating the stuff, and she gives them all a stern look. Its value far exceeds that of this gold, and she gives Jara a very kind of
Master
face.
Anders, may we
Yes,
have
sir.
a moment to discuss amongst ourselves?
Oh, absolutely. Take the time that you need. Do just let me know in due course.
When we do have an opportunity to speak amongst ourselves,
Yeah.
I will.
I'm going to say that you
address the
guys can just head out into the corridor, and you can hear Scarin the butler desperately trying to convince Anders that the Kraken threat is more important than the portrait of his mother. And you can hear this kind of going on in the background. So they're not listening in.
Okay. So I can only speak for myself. I can't speak on behalf of the group, but my personal stake in this is probably quite clear to all of you after spending some time with me. Obviously, I'd be much more interested in the freedom to sail the sea under our own terms. If you choose to sail with me, I would be happy to have you. If you choose not to, well, we can always use other hands. That being said, if any of you decide to allow us to take the ship in lieu of the coin, I would be more than willing to sacrifice the next opportunity we have to make gold in order to pay you back for the investment that you'd be making into my future on the ship.
God's blessed it, man. You had to go and say that, didn't you? Fine.
Yeah, I need this gold. But if you can pay me back, then yes. And also, a boat can be used to find other things. And I can't guarantee that I will be here. I need to move on and find a few people that are very important. But
If that's the case, I would be more than willing to, if you leave me with some sort of forwarding place to find you, I would be more than willing to send after you and make good on the investment.
that could be difficult. There's not really quite any place to send it to anymore. Yeah, I'll just come with you for now. I don't think I'll find anything soon.
I would only ask one thing in return for me waving the coin. Can someone write for me just on a small scrap of parchment? Forgive your uncle that it is not more. Just write that, hand that to me, and I shall wave my coin.
Oh,
That's the saddest thing that I've ever had anyone have me write for them, but absolutely.
Yeah, Yumi looks very concerned, and she's like, "We can get that done."
It is fine. I've sent them, and he pauses and starts counting in his head. And it just shows he can't read or write. He's still good with coin. Just starts counting in his head. I've sent them in the past 2 months around 300 gold, so I'm willing to wait.
Okay then.
They're not hard up by any means, and their parents aren't exactly hard up either. It is just I give to my nieces and nephews.
Good. You should help family.
You say family, it is more bonds forged in battle. Well, I found family, I guess.
Still important. Family is family.
Mm-hmm.
And as you're kind of going through this, you can hear the voices in the office behind you are getting a little bit raised and a little bit heated, and the door kind of slams open, slams shut, and Scarin, the butler, comes out into the hallways kind of a little bit frazzled. You can see there's a little bit more colour in his face. He's like, all right. I don't mean to rush you, good folks, but may I trouble you for a decision?
I think we'll take the ship.
Yes.
Brilliant. Great. Wonderful. It's on the docks. You'll find it in Master Solmer's area on his private marina. The name's been scrubbed off. It's at dock 34. Call us what you wish. He takes out a roll of paper deeds, kind of just shoves them in your general direction, smooths down his hair. May I escort you out of the home?
What's happening with your master?
And he kind of looks over at you, and he smiles, but there's a degree of kind of, really? He's like, this is with all due respect, this is council business. And then he kind of realizes who he's talking to. He's like, I'm sorry. I recall the devastation that a Kraken brought upon our city once. I just don't want to see it happen again. Master Solmer is young. And I don't think he really understands, but I will do my best to guide him.
Hopefully you can impress it upon him that there is death in his ocean. And it will come for here.
Yes, hopefully. And he guides you out of the luxurious home of Saltmarsh's premier merchant and youngest council member.
Mr. Scan, before we just leave your presence, may I ask, the 3 glass vials, the ruby colors, and the other one, what do they do? What are they?
Well, they were ordered by the dwarves. 3 of them, the red ones, I believe, are vitality things. You know, with the miners, they get injured down there. They sometimes need to get back on their feet pretty quickly. The potions of healing. The other one, and he kind of, you can see him trying to remember. He's like, some other magic concoction. It's a potion of breath. It's, sometimes the miners hit pockets of water, you know, being so close to the ocean. You can breathe it in and make your way underwater for a degree of time. Or you can breathe it out, I believe, in a gust of wind, but I think they mostly use it for the underwater travel if they hit a pocket of water while they're mining, while they're delving. We had to replace them. This is a problem when people are sent here by the Crown. The Crown makes arrangements that we may not be privy to, including the replacement of lost cargo, which I personally think is a little bit much, but...
Well, I do thank you for your assistance.
Oh, anytime. We can call on you again if we need any further.
Saltmarsh is my home. You may call on me anytime you need.
Of course, yes. And you probably have met Scarin before, having grown up here. And when he shakes your hand at the door, he does give you, Varsha, a particularly long, warm handshake. You've probably known each other for many years.
Yes. Nice to see you as always.
And he just looks, he's like, Anders, I love him as if he's my own, but he might be the death of me.
And she pats your hand. She's like, well, if you ever need an ear, you know where to find me.
Thank you, dear. Thank you. And is there anything else anyone wants to say to Scarin before he closes the door to the mansion?
Nope.
And he closes the door and disappears back inside just as the sun is beginning to set, bathing Saltmarsh in the bright reds and purples of a truly gorgeous ocean sunset. And I think that's where we'll leave it today.
Okay.
Right on time.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, before I take us off, let's go around, opposite order from before, and tell me who you are, where we can find you, and a favourite moment from today's session, starting with Jara, Swift of the Tides.
Yes, so I'm Sam, or I suppose Samuel to avoid confusion. The other Sam, the character. So I can be found on Twitter as Eldritch Warlock. I don't really do much on Twitter. Mainly, I just tweet and retweet where I might be appearing on the internet, which is occasionally over on Variant Roles, and also on the RPG Lab. It's currently 4 a.m. in the morning, so timing, days, all that are currently out of my head, so I can't give more details than that.
Fair enough.
Favorite moment, though, I think it would have to be Vasha killing so well as a cleric and just covering all of us in blood while doing so. That was an interesting moment, and definitely one that stood out.
Okay, let's go to Varsha.
I'm Amber. You can find me at @4_DND on Twitter. I am appearing here in this game series, but then I'm also on the Gratuitous RP. We do weekly Tuesday nights homebrew sessions. My favorite moment was, just despite this being our first session, I liked the play off of personalities with each other, the role play, the banter, Vasha killing the ones, but then Jara just being like, oh yeah, well thunk, and just one-shotting another one. I thought that was really cool. I also just liked the moments like the just the role play was really great. And then I also loved how you ended the session with just kind of that, like, we started with the sea and we end with looking at Saltmarsh as well. I thought that was a very beautiful way to end a session.
Oh, thank you. Okay, Derek.
As I unmute for a moment, I am Adam Barnello. You can find me mostly on Twitter at Adam Barnello, or maybe at your local neighborhood Magic Fest, probably dressed up in some silly costume, as I'm wont to do. My favorite moment of this episode was probably when Cinnamon appeared out of the depths of the sea for just a moment and that's disappeared back into the ether.
She is
No, but I had a really good time. Everybody was great. I really enjoyed how everyone dove into their characters wholeheartedly, and it was excellent.
Great. Yeah, my cat is a nightmare. She's ripped my book into just pieces, like my notebook. She was chewing and eating it. She's an absolute nightmare. Sam, the character.
Oh, that's me.
That is
I am Dan in real life, at Scary Dan, all one word, on Twitter, scary.dan if you like pictures of cats on Instagram. They're just personal feeds. This is my first big step into something more public D&D wise, as much as I've been playing for a number of years. So thanks y'all for having me. It's been such fun. On a personal note, the highlight was this is my first time playing a barbarian, so a character that's able to just rush in and not have to think about something was more fun than I had expected. But the moment that I'm still like, holy crap about was that undead coming out of the abyss. I was like, oh God, this is so much bigger than I had thought it was going to be. So this is really exciting.
Yeah. Yes, also Dan's first time on stream. Dan's first stream ever. Dan did so good. Yay.
Thanks, y'all. Y'all made it very easy. It was a pleasure playing with you all.
And finally, Yumi.
Hello, I am Liz Hirsch, and I'm very tired. I actually started this session with a migraine, and it's still here.
Oh, honey.
So, it's all right. It's my life. Anyway, hi, yeah, I'm Liz Hirsch. I'm also known as Ryu Red Wings all over the internet. You can find me on Twitter at Ryu Red Wings too. You can also find me over on Variant Roles for the next couple of weeks on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am playing Honey, my wonderful tiefling monk, who is much more bouncy and friendlier than Yumi by far. And yeah, you can also find me on Patreon. I draw a lot, and you can find sketches. I talk about my art process. I also talk about the couple of offline Dungeons and Dragons games that I help DM and things that I play, and all that sorts of fun stuff. And yeah, and as for a favorite moment, definitely I'm gonna have to go with the undead as well. The undead slowly crawling out of the chasm was really cool. I really liked that. And also Vasha just destroying everything in her path was just awesome. I was just like, in my head, I was just picturing, this really pretty, like, curly-haired sea elf who's like, oh, and then she's just like, everything in front of her. I just loved it. It was a wonderful image.
Great. I am Alex Catu. You can find me on Twitter at Alex_Catu. I am a prolific tweeter. I don't know if that's something to be proud of or not. I was your DM today. My favorite moment, so many. I think my favorite moment would have to be Yumi absolutely destroying the very, very stealthy entry to the boat just immediately. Like, you guys had nailed getting up to the boat, navigating through the water. You nailed getting up over the side and getting the rope secured. The first couple of people got up there so quietly, noticed the enemies, and then Yumi on deck.
It's like the Hulk, she just comes down.
Yeah, just outstanding. I also really loved the banter between everybody. I really like DMing for groups where I can just sit back and let you guys talk at each other. It makes my job really easy, so thank you. And overall, I can't wait to play with you guys again. We've got a little bit of a break until our next session. We've got about a month. So I think our next session it's somewhere around the 5th of June, but it's a Friday night, 5th of July, and I'm not sure whether that's my time or your time. So it's somewhere around then, but it's about a month away. And I would love for
July 5th,
everybody.
8 p.m. EST.
Yes, that's the one. So it'll be the 6th for some of us, and yeah, time zones are hard. But I will let everybody go, as we did play that whole session without a break, and I really hope everybody can join us for the next one. Thank you very much to all of our supporters and sponsors as well. Now is a great time to go jump over on Discord. For my players, if you are so inclined, we do have a channel on our Discord where you can discuss the episode with people who were watching. So feel free to hang out there whenever you like. And yeah, thank you everybody for coming along and hanging out.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, thank you.